Wait, holy shit, fuck. Wait, holy shit, fuck. I'm fixing my audio, wait a minute. I'm fixing my audio, wait a minute. Okay, now 111. Okay, now 111. I feel like this should be a little bit louder. Okay, that should be okay. Okay, no studio anymore. Game. Oh shit. Get bigger. Why did you get smaller? Okay. It's so loud. Hello. Does the game seem okay? I think it does. I can still hear myself. Okay, let's just go with it. Alright. Hello. I am here. And, well, we are finishing the game today. I mean, only step 2, but I have decided that after step 2, we are going to take a break because I am shit at taking vocal breaks. Like, literally, I took a day off yesterday not to have to talk to anybody, right? I was alone half a day. I was just cleaning. I had no guests, I had no stream, and my voice is not better at all because I cannot keep my fucking mouth shut. Like, half of the day I was just screaming my lungs out, singing either love, put your hand on my shoulder, some emo songs, or lubię wracać tam, gdzie byłem by Wodecki because I just like the tenor of it. And those are some songs that require a lot from your throat. Therefore, I'm not really better and I think I should just take a break and play some games that are not visual novels per se. Therefore, they are not as challenging, at least for a while, just to get, a moment of break. Yeah, so without talking any further, let's just continue to the game. We have done the growing one. We will do 4 today. Since we are finishing after the step 2, for now, I feel like we should at least do some more of these. So we will do one here, and maybe two here to get to know Derek better. I don't know what you guys think, but I guess that's the best we can do. So let's go for one more of these. Maybe family, just so I can see Kyra more. Maybe just so I can see Kyra. Okay, let's go. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you close your eyes, enjoying the mix of the heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee had spread out a blanket on top of one of the hills behind your house, and had been relaxing there for a while now. Lee had come over earlier in the day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading down to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you, some bottled water, soft drinks, as well as chips and sliced fruit. You sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk away about the musical she had gotten to see a few days ago. This is literally something me and my favorite cousin would do. We would take whatever money she would get from her parents, my weekly allowance, and we would just buy everything we could from a local store and then do a little picnic for ourselves. And always on our picnics we would have a language, which is not really a language. We would just add the S letter at the end of word and we call it Estonski. As a language, let's go. It was very cute. I loved it. I recall those days with so much like love in my heart. That was awesome. I loved it at the time. Anyway. It was unbelievable. There was singing, dancing, and crazy stunts, and it was all done live right in front of my face. Maybe one day we could go together. I've got to see more shows like that. We smiled at Lily's enthusiasm, knowing how much she enjoyed singing and performing. She was good at it too. You had gotten the chance to hear her sing a couple of tunes, and you knew she put a lot of effort into it. I also like to sing, but you weren't very good. I mean, to be honest, my singing splits people apart because some of my friends like my singing. It's not crazy but they just enjoy it. Like my bestie, he says it calms him down when I sing, but other people don't like it very much. So I'm not sure. I would say I'm not very good because my singing style is more like karaoke. So, I am trying to do what the actual singer does instead of trying to come up with something that would tell my own story through their songs. Right? Like, with the put your hand on my shoulder, I'm like, wait, I'm gonna get further from the microphone for a little bit. I would just go, put your head on my shoulder, and that's basically repeating what I hear. Like, this is somewhat how I hear this song, right? Therefore, not very good, not very awful either, but gotta be realistic here. Yeah. That didn't stop you from doing it though. Exactly. It's everybody else's problem, baby. Like, when I was working at a gas station, the night shifts, and in the period when I would be alone and the shop would be closed and there was only like a drive-through to go through, I would be alone for a very very long time because people don't really like the drive-through in Poland. Therefore, I would just put on Epic the Musical and I would sing the entire musical twice to myself throughout my shift, and it was perfect. It was perfect. I loved it for me. Okay. That didn't stop you from doing it though. I wonder if maybe we could put on our own show. Think of how fun it would be. We would do that all the time as kids. Me and my cousins. I have a lot of cousins. Just saying. I have a lot of them, and we loved doing talent shows. And it was called a talent show, but everybody would just sing, or like the girls would sing usually, and the boys would like make jokes. Sometimes they would sing too, but usually they would just make jokes. And yeah, I loved those too. We could perform. Also, fun fact. Before we go, sorry, we have just started, and I have so much to say. I have so much energy. It's 10 in the morning. Like I woke up 2 hours ago. I just woke up like for real. So you have to bear with me for a moment here. Also, fun fact, while we were doing it, sometimes we would sing a Polish song called Skrzydlate ręce, which means winged arms, and it's like a very jumpy song. It's like like this, right? It's like very energetic, very jumpy. Everybody knew that song in Poland. Everybody like somewhat knew the lyrics, right? Could sing along. Nobody has ever realized it's about suicide. Literally 6-7-year-old kids were dancing in a circle, cheerfully singing a song about ending your own life because you're so miserable, because you woke up, you were born in a dark place. You have never gotten, like, it's literally about Doofenshmirt's life. Born in a dark place, don't know your mother, your father hates you, nobody wants to talk to you, you are alone your entire life, and you only pray at night for it all to end and for the world to burn. This is the song, this is what it is about. And it's like, I love it. I'm sorry for being so hyperactive. Okay, anyway, back to the game. Jesus, you're gonna hate this word. Holy Christ. We could perform for our parents and ask our friends and some other people to come and watch too. It would totally work. Yes, let's do this. Yes, let's do it. I would love that. Oh, we're gonna perform in front of Cole. Oh my goodness. Is he gonna give us flowers? You had actually thought about doing something like that before, but never had the chance to. Yeah, I did. We clapped in excitement and bounced on the balls of our feet, beyond happy that you were on board with our idea. I'm gonna sing! Do you wanna too? Or maybe do something else? I'll sing too, I'll write the song, pick the outfits, do the makeup. When I was 13, I wasn't writing songs anymore. I have learned that I'm not really good at it. When I was like 7, 8, me and my cousins would write songs of our own. Like a song about autumn, or about puppies, or about our moms. Like, you know, cute things like that. And then I would go to another cousin and we would like make rap songs. Perfect. I love those memories. Jesus, it's so nostalgic today. I feel so nostalgic. I write the songs, so no, not anymore. We are 13 here, so I would write the story for the musical for sure. I could, create the entire like thing, but not the songs. No, 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 no. So let's just sing too. Sure. Cool. We'll perform an incredible duet. Is there anything else that's coming to your head? One more thing. I can also do some kind of stunt. Because that's a no, that's a no, that's no, that's a no, that's a no, yeah. I mean, I could dance because I liked dancing, but I wouldn't come up with the choreo. I liked dancing if someone told me exactly how am I supposed to dance. If I knew every step one by one, I loved it, and I could do it all night long, but if I didn't know the steps to the song, I would not dance for the love of it. I was the kind of person who would just support the wall on a party and never get away from it. Especially in middle school. Oh, a daredevil! I can't wait to see what you come up with. Is there anything else that's coming to your head? I don't think so. Unless we can come up with some specific choreo, like I could look something up, and then we would add the dance. I mean, it's a musical, we should. Let's just add it, fuck it. It's not real life. I'm trying to base it in real life, but it's not, so I can go a little, extra here. Okay, we can pick an upbeat song. That way it will be easy for you to move. I think that will all make an amazing show. You've got this pretty covered. The two of you run back to your house to grab the supplies you needed, dodging your mom's amused questions before heading back out to the blanket to get started. Lee laid down on the blanket, her MP3 player held above her while she swiped through the songs. She suggested a couple of different tracks, which were fast-paced enough for you to put some moves together. I feel like that's not a good idea, because if I said I'm gonna sing, and I said I'm also gonna dance, I feel like we should go for something slower so I can catch my breath when I do it. Because right now it turns out I'm gonna be all over the stage and singing while 13 years old and doing it for the first time. But alright, I'm sure they've got it covered. Lee and you discussed the plans in detail, settling on the song first and then practicing out parts for the show. The afternoon passed quickly, the sun dropping lower and lower in the sky, and after having fully worked out how the show was going to go, you decided to take a break. Oh, we should have invited Cove to let us practice our show. He could tell us if it's bad before we put on the real thing. That's smart, you guessed that would have been okay. I'm glad he didn't see. I think I would like my bestie to see it first. Like, even if I... Hime came. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay, I'm back. Even if I have a crush on my bestie, I would want them to be the first one to see. Because, that's the person I trust the most. Probably. And I would trust that he would give me a proper feedback and not that he would, just say, yeah, it's shit, and then go away. So, yeah. I'm sorry for all the noise and stuff. Stop touching the microphone. Hime! She was trying to... how do you say that? Push off colored pencils from the shop. Okay. It's too bad Derek isn't in the neighborhood today. I like him. I really like him too. He's okay. He's kind of boring. I don't like him. Yeah, he's a good person. He sounds like a good person. He takes care of his siblings well. He seems kind. Kimos. Yeah, that's what I thought. I knew you'd think so. But speaking of boys we like, what's the relationship status between you and Cove? Is it good? Yeah, it's good. I don't know. We blush and say nothing. We shouldn't gossip. I think things are alright. I would do half of this and then this. I would admit that it's good. Like, she's my friend, he's my friend, it's going good. Like, there's nothing to really hide there. Oh, I'm so happy for you. But like, are you gonna be telling him you have a crush on him anytime soon or what? A second, please. Okay. I don't have a crush on Cove. I'll tell him soon. No way, I'm not telling him. I'm pretty sure he already knows. You weren't sure if you wanted to tell Cove or not. I would never be the first one to tell. I would be like, I'm pretty sure he knows. I'm pretty sure he knows. Like, I wouldn't say that, like, no way. I would be like, he knows already. Come on, come on. Yeah, I would never. I don't think I could ever be the person that would confess first. I am too anxious for that. I would be scared to fuck up the friendship. You know, I wanna ruin a friendship. No, that's not me. That's not me, bestie. I would be so freaking scared. So, yeah, wait, I need to fix my... Because I'm usually like that, and I'm like... Wait. Go here for a moment. And now, back here. Yeah, that should be better now. What was I about? Anyway, pretty sure he already knows, yeah. Pretty sure isn't sure? You should declare it to him. You mumbled something incoherent and she gave you a pointed look. You know that he has a crush on you too. It's obvious for him, it's obvious for you. Why not just do it? You didn't say anything, wondering about the possibilities instead. The two of you talked a little more about Cove, amongst other topics, and you found that it was nice having someone to speak with about these sorts of things. Finally, you both decided to pack everything up and head back home for the evening. Lee talked excitedly about the show as you did, and you thought back on what you had already accomplished for it. You could definitely do it with a little more practice, but what you had so far was a solid foundation for the performance. Oh my goodness. Okay. Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your moms and Elizabeth hovering around each other in the living room. Tension hung thick in the air as the three of them turned to you and Lee frowning slightly. You had interrupted something. Exactly what, you weren't sure. Wow, who died? I'm never joking like that. I hate joking about death. Second, again. I hate joking about death. It's not funny for me. I'm like, okay, why would you call that? Why would you call that? It's not... If you say it, you know... If you say it, it may come. Just say it. I don't like that. It's a bit superstitious, but still, it like... In today's days and age? Nuh-uh. Too risky, man. Too risky. What's going on? Your mom looked at each other, wondering which one of them was going to speak first. Eventually, Mom cleared her throat and spoke.
Oh.
We're just having a talk with your sister. The room fell quiet again, with no one quite knowing what to say. You felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. You don't have to stop just because those two are here. There's no reason to try keeping it a secret. Elizabeth was mad, with her arms folded defensively over her chest, but her moms nodded in agreement with her.
Well,
Elizabeth was asking about her parents, her biological ones. The world spun around you at the news. You couldn't understand why was this happening now. When you glanced at Lee, she shuffled her feet uncomfortably, as though she didn't know if she should be there or not anymore. You didn't know either. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister, but the details hadn't been fully explained before. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just hadn't ever thought you'd accidentally stumble into it. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. Oh, actually, I should wait. I forgot that. I should... Oh, this one actually is... wider. And this one also... wider for the future. Great. Okay. We don't want to keep that information from either of you. It's your right to know your past, but we did want to wait until you asked us to hear yourselves. Well, it's happening now, so... Your mom shared a nervous glance, and Ma took in a quick breath before speaking again. I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby. Elizabeth dropped her arms, her eyebrows shutting upward in surprise. Wait, I wasn't born here?
no.
No, you weren't. You could clearly see that your sister was appalled by this information. You struggled even more with what to do or how to react. Am I gonna have to pass some test to even be a citizen?
No.
No, you were adopted into the country. We took care of things. You're already a citizen. You have nothing to worry about. I followed all the laws when it came to bringing a child into the US. Nothing can be held against you. Elizabeth sighed, placated with the information but still far from happy. Who are my parents? As people, why did they put me up for adoption in the first place? Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulders, trying to provide some support before she gave her the answer.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry, sweetie. Your parents were reported to have died. They didn't go into details on the specifics of how, but you were an orphan. I wish we had better news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between emotions. Her eyes filled with tears as she threw her hands in the air, settling on enraged. Great! So I can never meet them, even if I wanted to. Not that I could have anyway, since they lived in another part of the world when they were still alive. Elizabeth turned her back on your mom's, and then stormed off, sprinting up the stairs and to her room before anyone could stop her. I have to go and talk to her. Ma immediately started to follow her, but Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head. We should give her a little space to process it all. Your ma's hand hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone, the two of them seemed to remember you and we were still standing awkwardly off to the side. I'm sorry you had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. But since it's the topic of the day, Machi, is there anything you'd like to ask? You deserve to know, after all. Lee patted your back and gave you a supportive look. Honestly, since we're already there, there's no reason to stir up the drama another time. Let's just, do it all while we still can, right? Or no? Sorry. I want to know. Your parents both nodded in sync to your reply, ready to talk. I can leave if you want to have things to be private. I want you to be here. I don't care. a little closer to you in support, and you were glad to have her there with you. It made you feel a little stronger somehow. You turned to face your parents again, preparing yourself for what they were about to tell you. Ma was the first to speak, her voice quivering with emotion. You were adopted as a baby, but 2 years after Elizabeth. We used a different organization that time, and you were adopted within the US. We're sorry to tell you, Machi, your parents had also passed away, and no other family member took you in, if there were any. That's why we wanted to wait until you asked. We didn't want to suddenly drop that into your lap. We wanted you to be prepared.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry, Machi. We gave you a reassuring squeeze on the arm to show she was there for you. I mean, honestly, I don't really know how to react here because obviously I cannot say what it feels like. I can only say I think that if I have learned I am adopted today, I don't think I'd react much simply because, well, my parents are the ones who raised me, till this point, and I wouldn't feel... What's up, Hima? What? What's going on? You hear something? Something's happening? Cute baby. Anyway, I feel like it wouldn't make much difference since blood isn't that important anyway, I feel like. Like, it's about memories, it's about connection, and not about just the fact that you share genes with someone. All I would want to know if, their medical past, so I know if I should be cautious about some specific illnesses, both mental and physical, stuff like that. He gave you a reassuring squeeze on the arm to show she was there for you. Yeah, actually, I would ask, how did they die? Because if it's like cancer, or, I don't know, something with the spleen, something with the liver, whatever, anything that's like inside my body and can be genetic, I wanna know. It's not your fault that you didn't kill them, right? You started to cry, you were angry. Okay. That was it. Your birth parents weren't alive anymore. It was hard to really process the thought. Thank you for listening, Machi. If there's anything else you want to know, all you have to do is ask. We'll do our best to answer any questions you have.
Are you okay?
How are you feeling now? Are you going to be okay? Lee watched you closely, as though judging how exactly she should react to what was going on. I feel fine. You spoke with a refreshed tone, as though you had a load off. Your mom smiled sadly, but she knew they believed you. No one seemed to have any words left after that. You went to your room, you needed to stay with your moms. Either this or this, but I feel like Elizabeth could need me more. Since even though I wasn't adopted from a different continent, it's still pretty much the same story. Adopted as a baby, biological parents died, so you're an orphan, raised by these two. So I feel like Elizabeth needs someone like that to talk to, so I want to see Elizabeth. You were worried about Elizabeth. Even though she had been so angry when talking to your moms about everything, you could see she was clearly sad. You headed over to the stairs and up to her room. Lee, you should stay in the living room for that. I don't know if you're as close with Elizabeth as you are with me. Also, please wait a moment again. house. Yeah, New Year's saying. It would be best to speak to Elizabeth alone. There was more chance of her opening up to you that way. Waiting in front of your sister's door, you raised a hand to knock on it. There was no answer for a good minute or two, and when you jiggled the handle you found it was locked. Raising your hand again, you knocked louder this time, thinking she must have her headphones on so she couldn't hear you. When she didn't answer the door a second time, it was clear to you that she either still couldn't hear or was just straight up ignoring you. It had to be shut out, especially right now. Well, from these... I mean, I feel fine, so I don't see a reason to see Cove, honestly. But I guess I will be worried for my sister and maybe try to console with him and like ask what I should do. Maybe. More than anything, in that moment you wanted to see Cove. No one could be there for you the way he could. I'm gonna go out, just for a little while. I'll be back before it's really late. Your mom nodded in understanding, trusting you to make the best call for yourself. Once outside, you strode across the street purposefully. Cove's house sat in your sight. After you raised a hand to knock on the door, it only took a few moments for Mr. Holden to answer it, giving you a broad smile. Hi, Machi. I know why I wanna see Cove. I wanna see his mama. Looking for Cove, I bet. Sure thing. Yeah, that's right. Cliff turned and whistled down the hall in the direction of Cove's room. Hey, Spot! You have a guest! After calling his son, he turned back to you and dipped his head.
No worries.
He'll be here any second. As promised, it didn't take long before footsteps echoed down the hall, and Cove's head of green hair appeared before you. He looked past his dad to see you standing there and smiled, pleased at your visit. Hey, Machi. Hi, Cove. Can you hang out now? You have a placid smile, one you were all too familiar with. He gave a placid smile. Sure. You kids take care, alright? I'll be around if you need anything. Mr. Holden shuffled back into the house and closed the front door, giving you some privacy. Cove tilted his head at you, his bangs falling to his face as he did so.
So...
What's up? There's lots going on. I need to talk to you. My parents are dead. I shouldn't laugh at this, I'm sorry. But I just imagine his panic over my mama's. Since I don't know if Cove even knows we're like adopted. There's a lot going on right now. Cove looked at you in confusion, his eyebrows dipping. What is it? My parents, from before my mom's, died when I was a baby. Mom's didn't say how, maybe they didn't know, but there wasn't any other family I could live with, so that's why I got adopted. Without having to say anything else, Cove pursued the tight embrace, his familiar warmth enveloping you. I'm sorry, Machi. His words were whispered comfortingly into your shoulder. I'm okay. You don't have to do this yet. I would be like this, like... Honestly, for me, the time you spend with someone is more important than anything else. And maybe because my family, like, relations are pretty complicated, and that's why I feel that blood is not important at all. Like, you should be able to choose who you feel like family with, and not just conform to the idea of family that, you know, is like biological father, biological mother, siblings. Like, if someone is hurting you, they're not your family. If someone makes you feel safe, they're your family. And if someone is indifferent to you, they're not your family either. Your family should be Therefore, if I have never met those people, I am indifferent to them. I don't care. So you don't have to do this. I want to. He didn't say anything more, but he did not go either. Can we walk somewhere else? He felt uncomfortable huddling around the entrance of Cove's house. That feeling didn't seem to be a problem though. Yeah. Cove took you by the arm and encouraged you along behind him. You followed without protest. I feel like, you know, for... how do you say that? Not integration. For immersion, that's the word. They should take consideration into our replies and how we feel. Because I said I'm fine, I said I'm okay. I didn't have much reaction, but now I suddenly do have reactions, and it feels inconsistent. You headed towards the hill, where you and Lee had spent the majority of your day. Things seemed so different than only a couple hours ago, and you wondered how everything had changed so drastically. It didn't. I'm worried about my sister, not about myself, because clearly she sees it differently, and she's the one who needs support. Well, you took a seat in the grass beside Cove, who bent his legs and rested his arms on them before he turned to you again. Can you explain everything to me? You nodded softly before taking in a deep, heavy breath and launching into the story. Cove sat quietly and listened attentively, nodding every now and then or taking in a sharp inhale. It took a long time for you to relay the details. Dozens of stars were pinpointed in the sky as the night wore on. Silence settled between you and you as Cove sat quietly for a moment, contemplating everything you had said. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet, drifting through the night towards you. Machi,
I'm so sorry.
I'm really sorry about what happened to your parents. So sorry. But I don't even know what happened. Like, as I said, I would be freaking out if I knew they died from some genetical disease. That's when I would be like, oh my god, I may die. My children in the future possibly could die because it's in our genes. But if it was like some accident, whatever, it's not something that's gonna be passed on me. And well, I did say I was fine, so like what I see in my head right now in the scene is like me just talking normally the way I do now, and him acting like over sympathetic, over empathetic, to the point where I would be like, okay, but I'm fine, I just told you I'm fine, can you like stop this sad puppy act? But maybe that's because I dissociate from my emotions too. I don't know. Well, this kind of act, what he does would be good if he would be talking to Elizabeth, because Elizabeth clearly needs that consolation. My character doesn't. My character is fine. So it just feels weird to read. He stopped suddenly and took a deep breath, deep shaky breath, and you got the impression he was struggling with what was right to say. Oh, maybe this. That could be me, actually. That I would feel bad about being indifferent. That's something I could feel. That's what I felt when... Well, I'm not gonna get into details, but I've been to funerals, and usually that's how I feel there. Like, I go to other people, like, console them, but I don't really feel much. I guess just Death doesn't really give me that much sorrow, whatever. I don't know how to call it. Like, I don't feel like death is as bad of fate if it's like just normal death. If it's like very painful, then yeah, I would feel bad because of the pain. But death itself, I don't feel like I can't really feel bad about it. And I don't know why. I'm just like, okay, well, pretty sure it's better out there than out here, so, you know, in the afterlife. It's kind of, like, talking about death is kind of deep. I still don't want that ending for anybody anytime soon, but I just feel like once it happens, but that's maybe because nobody from like my very close circle had that problem, maybe. Like, other than, you know, like the closest. Okay, I'm just gonna shut up. I don't know how to talk about it without getting it to be too personal, so yeah, I'm just gonna shut up and go with this. I never knew them at all. They're strangers, even if they did have me. Machi, you're not doing anything wrong, you know that, right? I think that you can be as sad as you want for as long as you need. Or you can feel okay about it whenever you want to. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair as he looked out over the ocean.
It's okay.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, whatever you feel about it is how you feel about it. You don't have to force yourself to be different. Thank you. His words had made you feel better, and she knew it was true. You didn't have to apologize or make any excuses for the way you felt about it all. Cove smiled at you a little, and you could tell he was trying to be comforting. And your moms definitely don't. It doesn't matter if you're not blood related. You're definitely family. I can see that, and I hope you can too. You felt reassurance in his eyes. You stayed up on the hill together a little longer, looking out over the ocean and the stars that shone brightly above it. After talking about the situation with someone who wasn't directly a part of it, you started to see things in a different light. Above all, you were glad to have Cove's support and to know you could count on him if you needed it. Hey! The sudden voice of your sister behind you made you jump. You saw her standing a little way away. She walked closer, and you didn't quite know what to do or what she was planning on saying.
So?
Would you mind going? I want to talk to just Machi. You can come back. It's not gonna be forever or anything. Cove's in equal parts concerned and skeptical. Leaving now wasn't a concept that thrilled him. I want to talk to you too. Wait, I'm gonna save it because if it's like both ways, then like if I say it to Cove and not to Elizabeth, I'm gonna feel bad. So I hope
Really?
it's to Elizabeth. Oh, then we're on the same page. She made a little move along the shore with her hands and it was settled. You waited until the two of you were alone before fixing her with an inquisitive look. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking over. Did Mom tell you about your parents too? Second. My birth parents also died. Elizabeth broke eye contact after that.
Sorry.
Why did you want to talk to me? I went to see you and you didn't even answer. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the news.
What?
I didn't hear anything. Shutting everything out with loud music was very typical of your sister. Same. You didn't feel much less confused though. Why did you stop doing that then? She shook her head, as though the answer should be obvious. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever was left when I was gone. She sighed, glancing upwards for a moment before settling on you once more. I wanted to ask you what happened without everyone breathing down our necks. That was pretty crap with to display. I'm amazed you noticed that was unkind. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for thinking of me. She stuck her nose up a little at that, but her smile was soft. I'm okay, Elizabeth. It didn't upset me.
Hey.
How are you allowed to be that mature? The lightening spirits in her were quickly gone as she slipped back into the scowl. You have to be born in the US to become president. What? You had never heard of that dream of hers before. She noticed your bafflement and continued. I get I was never gonna be president, but it just feels weird, having stuff taken away, not even getting a chance at it. I don't like having to know that when I was born, I was gonna have a completely different life. So different I can't even think about what it would look like in my head. I could have spoken another language, lived away from everything I've ever seen, here, had someone else as my sibling. And then my parents died, and I was adopted, and the life I got became an entirely new thing forever. I can't go back to what it was even if I wanted to. Heaviness settled between you and the person who became your sister. You knew exactly how she felt, I feel like that too. I don't really understand. I knew how she felt, I'm not gonna say it because that would be rude. It was a confusing feeling to have lived one way for as long as you can remember, but not having it be what was originally yours. Elizabeth watched you seriously. She was still trying to make sense of this to you and herself. I don't know why today was a day. Nothing came up to make me ask the question. It was just something I've had on my mind, in my head for a while. When it was just me and Moms in the living room, I just kind of said it. Finally, and there you go. She shifted from one foot to another, relaxing her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently. Learning about them and what happened doesn't change how I feel about our family, Machi. She smirked, fixing you with sharp eyes. I'd already figured a long time ago that Moms weren't our biological parents. That wasn't news. Technically, one of them could have been related to you. You kept listening. It really doesn't change anything. I kept listening. Nothing about the family I was born in would have made me decide that this wasn't my family anymore. If you had hoped you'd be free of my big sisterly status, don't think you're so lucky. She bumped her shoulder against yours, playfully. Her lips started at the corners.
You'll always be my little sibling.
Aww. You smiled softly at her. You took a big groan at the prospect. You bumped her back. You hugged her. I hugged her. I was worried about her. Like, that's why I went to Dr. Cove. I wanted to talk about her. So, I'm just glad she figured it out. It took a few seconds, but she gave you a quick squeeze in return. You'll always be my family too. I think I'm really lucky. You took the moment quietly. I feel like this one. Chuckling, she seemed pleased with how the conversation had gone in the end. Ready to head back home? It's been a long day. You gave her a nod.
Come on.
Come on, you two. Let's go. You walked home together in a comfortable silence down the well-worn street. The familiarity of it all felt nice. When you stepped through the door, you found your moms quietly sitting together at the kitchen table. Their heads snapped up and they got to their feet to meet you, Ma giving you a careful smile. We're so glad to see you. Hi, I'm sorry for walking away before. Everything is alright. Sorry for walking away. They must have been worried too. That's alright, sweetheart. We're just happy to have you here again. Ma then came over and wrapped her arms around you and Elizabeth, giving you a tight hug. It didn't take long for Mom to join in, putting her arms around the both of you.
Love you.
We really couldn't have asked for better, kiddos. We love you. More than we could ever say. Moms! You smiled at their comfort. You were so glad your moms were right. You're smooshing me. I smiled. I love you too. It was a nice moment, and you enjoyed it for as long as you could. both pulled back eventually and grinned at the two of you, and you knew then that you all had each other and you always would. Hey, I hope you're alright. Lee came up towards you, a soft smile plastered on her face. And are you okay, Elizabeth? Elizabeth rolled her eyes and half a breath, and you knew she wasn't used to showing her
Fine.
vulnerable side. I'm doing fine. Lee nodded, though you could tell she didn't quite believe her. Well now, since we're all here, how about we do something together as a family? That sounds nice. That sounds like an excellent idea. We should have some fun before the night is over.
Totally!
I love the sound of that. Okay. Oh, Cove is still here. I forgot about him. Cove looked a little bashful, likely over being included as a part of the family, but he tried not to pay much attention to it. Aww. Why not? He dismayed threatened to tilt your lips, knowing that Elizabeth must have been in a good mood if she hadn't even teased Cove for being part of it. And no matter what she could have said about it, you wanted him to be here. He was someone who was really important to you. Who's got a suggestion? It should be something we can do here in the house, with everyone in the same room. You suddenly remembered the show you and me had been working on earlier. Maybe we can do our show? You were bummed you never got to do it after all. Maybe we should do it, like, if I thought about it, I mean, if we already have it prepared and we wanted to show it to those four specifically anyway, like, why not?
Oh?
A show? This is the first time we're hearing of this. I'm intrigued.
Wonderful!
It would be amazing if you put it on for us to watch. Oh yeah, I need to see what you've cooked up. That would be cool. You smiled at Lee, who returned the gesture while bouncing on her heels in excitement. Take some seats and we'll get everything together. Your moms collected the chairs from around the dining table and set them in a row in the living room, where there was enough space for the show. While they did that, you and Lee quickly gathered the supplies you needed and rehearsed the plan one last time. You listened for the song you had chosen one last time. You also took a moment to cycle through the dance moves you had planned. You then made sure to grab your bicycle helmet and knee pads from your bedroom and strap them on. When the two of you returned, Wait. Just the helmet, right? Yeah. I hope I won't be riding my bicycle in the living room. When the two of you returned to the living room, everyone was sitting and chatting amongst themselves while you waited. The group quieted down when you and Lee stood in front of them on a makeshift stage. Lee was buzzing quietly with excitement beside you. You felt nervous, you were pumped for the show. I felt pumped, like it's my family, it's my people. The time you and Lee had put into practicing was worth it. You were ready to go. Okay, so welcome to our show. We only came up with it today, but we promise it will be good. Thank you for being here. No refunds. No refunds, boy. Laughter rippled through the mini audience. Then you nodded at Lee that you were ready to begin. Lee took in a deep breath, waiting the few beats it took to get into the song, and started singing. You were part of the song, joined in just a few moments later, and smiled at each other as you sang together. The dance moves you had practiced went perfectly with the tempo of the song. You performed your stunts to the sounds of the gasps and applause from the audience. When the performance was over, Lee took your hand in hers, and the two of you bowed deeply together. Everyone gave you a round of applause and cheered for an anchor. When you straightened yourself up, you were happy to see that even Elizabeth was clapping for you. Bravo! Bravo!
Good job.
You are so talented! Your family rose from their seats and came over to congratulate you more directly. You were beaming from ear to ear. Cove was the first one to approach, stepping up to you and you with a smile on his face.
It's nice.
Nice job. Thank you. You're a really great dancer, Machi. It was cool. Thanks. It was pretty good, huh? I just say thanks. Yeah. Welcome. Your parents gushed about how great everything was and thanked you for sharing it with them. Elizabeth was complimentary in her own way, although she did describe the show as cute, which you knew she meant as kind of kiddie. You laughed it off, however, and were just happy that everyone had a nice time. In that moment, you couldn't have been more pleased to be part of the family you had. Okay, there we have it. I need something more to drink. Okay, I don't think we're gonna do Derek. My voice is worse than I thought it was. Jesus Christ. And this one was long anyway. Like, what was it? Almost an hour? Sleepy kitty. Unless we did 2 calls, and now we're gonna do 2 Dereks. Perhaps? Maybe. You know what? Let's do it. I wanna know Derek more. I want you to know Derek more, so let's go for responsible and for siblings. The pool of Derek's condo complex was a perfectly setting for a late morning outing. It was early enough that the day hadn't yet reached its hottest. The air still held the crispness of morning. Despite its pleasantness, only you and Derek were there. Of course, given the location of the ocean, maybe everyone else who felt like waterside fun was at the beach, they usually were. No warm roughness of tiles felt odd on your bare feet as you walked further into the pool area. There was no sand to squish between your toes or sharp shells to avoid. You surveyed the area while Derek finished putting his stuff away on a chair. The chlorine was sharp in your senses and the entire space was so orderly. Lounge chairs sat in the Lounge chairs sat in the neat rows, umbrellas spaced out uniformly. The depth of the pool was marked out in the clear text. Hello! Nice to see you, person! The depth of the pool was marked out in the clear text along the sides. Every single element was intentionally and expertly crafted to be convenient for its human visitors. It was extremely different from the wild mysteries of the sea. We are right now doing direct DLC. I want to do 2 stories of his, so we can get to know him a little bit. You like the placid pools more, you like the sandy beach with rolling waves more, you liked both the pool and the beach about the same. I am a fan of both, honestly. Both had their good points. You were up for today's adventure to do something different from your typical day-to-day options. Oh, thank you for saying. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna put it down a little bit and get my voice like that. Is it better now? If you could tell me. This had been Derek's plan. He let you know about it ahead of time, so you could be dressed for the occasion. Thank you for saying again. Like, it's kinda hard to control it. 1-piece suit, 2-piece swimsuit, swim trunks, wetsuit. I usually go for 1-piece. And a t-shirt. I was comfortable with that. Your swimming gear was familiar, even if the pool wasn't. You felt prepared. That's Derek, by the way. We are now on the step 2, which means we are around 13 years old. Derek bounded up to you in his own swim trunks, flagrantly ignoring the no running signs in his enthusiasm.
Okay.
Watch, I'm gonna do a cannonball! As soon as he knew he had your attention, he took off the depth. Jesus. I cannot read today. He took off to the deep end of the pool. He built up speed and then leaped into the water. His curled up body created a huge splash on impact. You laughed, you applauded, you smiled, you gasped, you dashed away from the flying water, you cheered. I would laugh. Your initial surprised snort turned into a full-bodied laugh as you saw him continue the show underwater. Still curled in a ball, he rolled forward and completely flipped himself over. He stayed under for a while longer. He touched the pool bottom before he kicked himself back upward. When Derek's head popped out of the water, he swam to the edge of the pool and popped himself up with a grin. He watched you expectantly. You jumped into the pool, you walked over to the steps of the pool to get in. You sat, you plopped yourself. I jumped into the pool, yeah. Like Derek, you gave yourself a bit of a running start. You reached the end and took a deep breath and leaped as far as you could. Frigid water burst around you, feet first, but soon covering you entirely. You sank lower into the depth and began to kick. You breached the surface and sucked into the fresh air. You noticed two things. My cat started to play with her tail. One, the water wasn't actually freezing when you got used to it. And two, that Derek was clapping for you.
Nice!
Nice! You got some serious airtime. I'd give it a 10 out of 10. As you enjoyed the moment, your thoughts fell back to how you'd gotten here. Last night, Derek had called with a different sort of request. You remember that his voice had been a mix of nerves and hope. He had a favor to ask, a very unexpected for him. Hime, can you... Honey, hi. What are you doing? Hi. She's being silly. Derek's mom needed him to watch his little brothers in the afternoon. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but that was part of his problem. Yes, I prefer to stream with my doors closed, and her litter box is here, so she must be inside. Usually she sleeps for most of it, but she woke up now and she's chasing her own tail on the windowsill. It's kind of funny, but I am always scared that she's gonna trip when she does that, so... yeah, it's very cute though. Right? Oh my god, who's so pretty! It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but that was part of his problem. Lately he had feared that his sports skills weren't as sharp as he wanted them to be. He hadn't been able to practice soccer or football without the distraction of keeping an eye on his brothers. His idea to fix this had been to ask you for your help watching the kids. If you agreed to go to the park with him and his brothers, then you could manage his brothers while he had a chance to focus on practice. That's how he explained it. You said yes, and your moms had been more than happy to let you spend the day playing sport for Derek. They said it would be a good opportunity to take on some more responsibility. To sweeten the deal, Derek suggested that you come by early so that you both could hit the pool. Nicholas would be sleeping in and George would spend some one-on-one time with Mrs. Suarez. So far, the plan had worked out. Ma dropped you off about 15 minutes ago and both of Derek's brothers were fully occupied. You ended? You finished? Yes? Good kitty. Mrs. Suarez and George were back in the condo, putting together an 800-piece puzzle on the kitchen counter while Nicholas snoozed on the couch. You had time to kick back before the moment came to be in charge of small children. A sloshing sound pulled you back to the present. Derek had climbed out of the pool. I'm gonna jump again! Wanna join? Yeah, sure. No fuss, just jumping. As I mentioned a couple times before, I love water sports. Like, nowadays I don't do it so often because I don't like traveling much, and even if it's just like 20-30 minutes ride with the bus, I don't feel like it's worth it to drive all that way to get into the swimming pool. So I don't do it much anymore. But as a kid, anytime someone would go to the lake, anytime someone would offer me to go to the swimming pool, anytime we would go to the sea, I would be in the water as much as I possibly could. I think one time we challenged ourselves with my cousin not to get out of the pool for the entire day, so I went over to him at around 9 a.m. and we got out at 20. So yeah, 11 hours in the water, no food, no bathroom break, just keep it in and swim and have fun. Like, I was feeding on water back then. You copied Derek's exit from the pool. It took arm strength and caution not to scrape yourself on the texture of the concrete. Once on solid ground, you reversed away from the edge to give yourself enough space for a good jump. Yeah, I feel like when you grow up, it gets more complicated. You suddenly don't have time for things like that anymore, and it's sad. I should ask Actually, I have an outing with my friends in a week. Maybe I should ask them to just go to the swimming pool together. It would be nice. Poised to go, you and Derek made eye contact. He leaned forward, balancing on the balls of his feet.
No worries.
I've already done one. It's your turn. Belly flop, back flipped. I couldn't do that. Simply jumped in, offered your hand to Derek. Oh, that would be cute. Walked up the edge, showed him your cannonball, cartwheel. Either this one or this one, but I feel like this one. This is 13-year-old me. Just cannonball and the as big of a splash as possible. You backed up a little more to give yourself more space before going for it. You kicked your feet up, running to the edge and leaped. Curled into a ball, falling quickly, the air rushed past you, and then you were sinking towards the bottom of the pool. Whoa! You stretched out and reached up towards the surface, parting your arms to paddle over to dry ground. Derek was laughing boisterously. It was his turn next. By the curve in his grin and the lift of his chin, he looked to be in a mood to impress. His eyebrows drew together in a deep furrow as he considered his lunge. Derek took a few bounding steps to the edge, jumped up and tucked his body in. Unlike his previous cannonball, the energy went into a spin and he flipped, making a full rotation before he crashed through the surface. The water droplets from the splash dazzled you as they exploded out from his impact. He swam under the water and only came back to the surface after he reached the wall of the pool. He sneaked his hands up to the top of the tiles and pushed himself up so that his hips were even with the edge. He twisted and practically rolled out of the pool from there. You're up. Okay. Wow. Can we not make it a competition, please? I was not a sporty kid. I would just... Okay, let's do this and maybe he will stop feeling competitive. Oh. Cute. Derek accepted your hands eagerly and you ran towards the pool together. Woo! Hima. She's trying to get to the closet now. Hima. There you go. It's open. You leaped and flayed your legs for a split second. Derek lifted your arms into the air and kicked a foot out before you landed in the water. You kept switching back and forth, trading off between silly jumps and then more impressive tricks. From watching Derek's well-practiced dives to performing your own jumps, there was never a boring second. After several leaps, Derek called a break time and you took a breather at the back stairs to the pool. You waited for your strained heart rate to even out from all the exertion. After a pause of silence, Derek spoke up. He pulled his feet to his fist, not feet. He pulled his fist to his cheek in thought, squishing his face slightly.
So...
Hey, I probably should have asked before, but have you ever babysat somebody before? Yes. At the age of 13, maybe differently. I first babysat someone when I was 7, and it was a 2-year-old. I think I've got this. Uh, Yeah, let's go with this one. That's cool. Having you on my team is gonna be amazing. When it's a 2-on-1 game, it's rough. You live in the odds. Right. You really felt for him, given your own babysitting hurdles you'd had this summer. You were eager to take on the job, you felt nervous, you were curious, prepared for it to be a pain, you didn't know. I was curious. I mean, his brothers, they weren't here yet, they were in the, main step to story. They seem like sweethearts. They only had a moment to show up, but one of them is like this energy ball, and the other one is this calm, responsible kid. So I feel like we've got this. So I'm curious and eager, more curious. Rather than dread or excitement, the coming afternoon was a mystery in your mind. You'd simply have to wait for it to arrive. After that interlude, you both continued to enjoy yourself and your freedom until a late beeping alarm went off. That's time! He made his way to the lounge chair with his staff and dug out a small portable clock. It buzzed until he found the stop button. Derek checked the time and narrowed his eyes at the glowing red numbers. He shot you a thumbs up.
Let's go.
Let's go up! You helped him gather the towels, grab the rest of the stuff, and then tried to drip as little as possible while rushing through the halls of the complex. When you reached his apartment, he dumped everything in his arms on the ground and scrambled to find his key. Just give me a second. I don't want to knock or anything in case Nicholas is still asleep. He finally spied his soccer ball keychain and snatched up his keys from where they were tangled in his towel. He inserted the key into the lock and both of you shuffled inside the sweater's home. Three heads swiveled to face the two of you, gazes being drawn to the bundles of neon towels coming in. Mrs. Suarez and George were still on the barged stools, while Nicholas perched on the counter itself with an excited grin. They were working in a puzzle. On your left, Derek leaned closer and spoke under his breath.
I figured.
He's awake. Cute kiddo. Quick as a blink, Nicholas scrambled on his hands and feet and zipped across the black marble of the counter. Tiny cardboard puzzle pieces scattered. Nicholas, the puzzle! Despite George's frustration, the little whirlwind didn't seem to hear. He was on a mission to reach his bigger brother, not even stopping when he hit the end of the counter. Nicholas stumbled off the edge and Derek instinctively moved forward with a gasp, dropping all his pull stuff except for the towel wrapped around him. Mrs. Suarez caught Nicholas with her forearms hooking over his chest, snatching him from midair. Oof! She hugged her son, holding him securely against her body. A chorus of relief sighs filled the room. Nicholas paid no mind to his trail of disasters and began to squirm. He just wanted down already. Derek took another few steps forward, making his way over to the scene. Mrs. Suarez carefully held Nicholas out, her hands under his armpits, and safely set him down on his feet. Nicholas immediately wrapped his arms around Derek's legs. Derek chuckled while tugging up at his towel so Nicholas wouldn't pull it off. Hold on, Nico, you're gonna get wet. Nicholas giggled mischievously and snuggled closer. Derek snuck a quick peek over his shoulder back at you and shrugged. Just as warned, Nicholas now had a damp splotch on his shirt. Hi everybody! You told Nicholas he'd worried you. You asked George if his puzzle was alright. Let's make sure George is alright. The counter was littered with pieces. You could see that there were large sections of the puzzle put together and several scattered parts that had been broken back up into mini individual pieces. Some had even been knocked on the floor, and you picked up a few to hand to George. How's the puzzle? George stared at the pieces pinned between your fingers distantly before accepting them. He sighed over the mess. Yeah, it's alright. Hello! Nice to see you! I haven't seen you in a while. George nodded at you, appreciating that you had asked. He still seemed unhappy, but no major harm done. Well, Mrs. Suarez's tone was warm, with a certain amount of humor to it. She rubbed her hands together and stood up. Derek and Machi are in charge now. Make sure you listen to them. George sourly picked up the puzzle pieces, but gave a grumble noise to signify he had heard. I'm going to head off to my appointment. How do you like the new overlay? I got it from the site with free stuff for Vtubers, just so it looks a tiny bit better and maybe a little bit more professional than before. I hope it looks good. I hope I chose the right ones. She went to gather some things, officially putting you and Derek in charge. But there wasn't 1 second to settle into your new position. We're going swimming? Nicholas looked up and stared with huge shining eyes. Derek reflexively stiffened. How would he escape the puppy dog look? Derek's eyebrows creased, a small sign of nerves compared to the smooth pulsating sound of his voice. Thank you! I like the look as well. I'm glad you like it too. I'm not really good with the aesthetic stuff, so I was afraid it would clutch a bit, but thankfully it doesn't, so I'm glad. No, even better! He leaned down and lowered his voice like he was about to share a secret.
I've got a plan.
We're gonna go to the park! Nicholas instantly frowned. He wasn't convinced by Derek's act. He grabbed at Derek's towel. You were swimming! Yeah, but I'm not anymore. I'm going to the park and you can come with me. No! The little Suarez whined and stamped his foot. His hands belled up around the neon fabric harshly, enough he almost took the towel from Derek. Oh, yeah, I saw. I'm pretty sure I gave it back, I think. I may check later, but I think I did. I don't know. I will check. But, well, not right now, after the stream. Actually, I may just quickly check. Oh, I see you messaged me on Instagram. Well, I guess you know why I didn't reply this time. Okay, I see you. I'm gonna follow you back just so, you know, after the background is ready, it's gonna be easier to tag you. I wanna go to the pool. I wanna see Machi's swimsuit. Eh? What? Kiddo? Derek's jaw dropped. So did mine? Hi? Hello? Neither of you were prepared for that one. Did you hear Nicholas right? You look down at yourself, currently wrapped in a bright fuzzy towel. You switched your gaze to Derek's younger brother, your brain trying to make sense of what was happening. Why would you want that? Why does Nicholas want anything? True. George rolled his eyes and continued mumbling into the counter. It was obvious to him, and he couldn't believe the rest of you were taking so long to catch up. Because Derek does. Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. I am stunned. I am here and I am stunned. When I was 13, I would be even more stunned. Wow. Derek narrowed his eyes and whispered harshly.
Seriously?
Nicholas, George, you're gonna put me into an early grave. He took a deep breath as he stared at the ceiling. It took him a moment to face you. His voice was firm for someone at his level of embarrassment. I must have said something about hoping you'd remember to bring your swimsuit. I was excited for us to be able to swim, so I did want you to have one. Nicholas does not actually want to see you in a swimsuit. He doesn't even know why he'd want that. He's just saying stuff. Okay, whatever you say. Jesus. I didn't expect a conversation like that in a timeline in which we are 13. Wow. You ran the explanation over in your head a couple times. Derek seemed sincere, and it definitely made the whole thing less shocking. You snuck another look at Nicholas. He had crossed his arms high on his chest and squished his neck down for enough to rest his chin on his wrist. I wanna go swimming! His pout intensified when he said it again. He was a very angry little baby. Oh? There... Oh, okay. I will remember to do that. Derek tilted back on his heels, once again driven to look at the ceiling by the strain of this kid. You glanced up there yourself without thinking about it. It was a calm white color with a few light fixtures. Okay, is it ready now, by the way? I am curious. When you squinted, you noticed something small and green. It appeared to be one of those sticky hands for kids. Was this another present from the young Suarez? You tuned back into Derek. He appeared to have made a decision. Alright, I promise that you can go swimming too, but only after the park. We'll go to the pool as soon as we come back. With the promise of made, Nicholas lit up. He snatched one of Derek's hands. Let's go! We gotta get to the park so I can swim! While Nicholas celebrated, Derek closed his eyes and some of the worried creases on his face smoothed out. Derek, there's lunch packed in the fridge. That will be back before dinner.
I gotcha.
Gotcha! Thanks, Mom!
Have a good one.
Mrs. Suarez waved and collected the last of her things, her purse off the side table. She ruffled George's hair on her way out. You and Derek were alone with the kids. We should really stop leaving puddles everywhere. He gestured at the drops of water pooling at his feet. I should probably make the chat sound a bit quieter still. Okay. You know that feeling uncomfortable and not being fully dressed. You and Derek took turns changing. You went first while you could faintly hear Derek impressing on his brothers to listen to you too. He must have convinced them to behave for now, as neither George nor Nicholas acted up when Derek took his turn drying off and clothing himself. Can you get Earl lunch from the fridge? I'm gonna pack my gear. No problem. You walked casually to the kitchen. George hadn't moved from his bar stool even once since you'd gotten back. Meanwhile, Nicholas followed Derek like a past shadow that was even more energetic than the original. He zipped around, occasionally trying to place things in Derek's backpack for him. So far, Derek had said no to the rubber duck, but he had agreed to bring an extra pair of socks that Nicholas had determined were absolutely necessary. Okay, I'm gonna drink something real quick. Okay, got everything. Derek returned with a backpack in one hand and Nicholas's small hand in the other. We're going. George, ready? We're going, George. Ready, Machi? Yeah,
Sure.
sure. He pushed away from the counter and finally hopped off his chair with the enthusiasm of a plank would. We're going! Derek hid his smile at Nicholas' echo and ushered everyone outside. He locked the condo behind him and you began the trip to the nearby park. The park for the Suarez boys was the big park for your family. Their condo complex was only a short distance to the public outdoor recreational area your mom sometimes drove you to. It was still a beautiful day outside and had only gotten a few degrees warmer from your morning swim. The field was bustling with other groups of people enjoying themselves. Derek led the way to a wide open part of the grass that no one else was using. He stopped in the middle of the field and turned 180 degrees to face the little boys behind him. He shrugged his back off of his shoulders and dropped it to the ground. He kneeled down to root around inside it. George and Nicholas waited in a place for their brother. Derek gathered a couple things in his arms. Jesus Christ, I can't read. In his arms before pushing off the ground with his knee to get up again. He held a football in his left hand and a soccer ball in his right. Alright, Nicholas, George, I've got to practice, but you can too. Which one do you want?
Okay.
Football! Real ball! You raised an eyebrow at their shouts. Derek leaned over to you and whispered with a laugh. He means soccer ball. It's real cause it's actually ball-shaped. Is that a problem? They want both. Derek simply grinned. I thought so. He tossed George the football first. George caught it from out of the air with one hand and began to bounce it up and down in his fingers, feeling the weight of it. Derek popped the soccer ball gently over to Nicholas, who watched his brother intently. Nicholas had to catch it with both hands. He wrapped his arms around the ball and hugged it to his chest. And with his brothers taken care of, Derek crouched again to reveal a third ball. He'd brought a second soccer ball. Derek had been prepared. He then sprang back to his feet, another problem diverted. George, Nicholas, you can use this half of the field. I'll use that half. Machi can be your ref, so don't get too far from them, alright? Okay. George tossed his football in the air, preoccupied. It spun in an arc downward. Alright, I'm gonna practice! Nicholas embraced his soccer ball tighter, pressing his cheek into it. He wondered just how he'd practice with it when the equipment was about as big as his head. The child looked completely content with the world, but Derek's eyes narrowed. Once again, he shared some Nicholas info into your ear. Watch him, it's not over. He copies what I say, but it's not what he means. You snuck a peek at Nicholas. He appeared so innocent, clutching his ball and staring at a patch of clover in the grass. But you'd interacted with him enough to not question his potential for trouble. So cute. You'd make sure to keep an eye on the kid. You nodded at Derek without looking away from Nicholas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Machi. You're a lifesaver. Derek held his soccer ball in his hands and cheered. Bye, bros. Bye. Bye, bro. Derek put on a smile as he picked up his bag, tucked his soccer ball under an arm, and jogged to the side of the field. He didn't have time to lose. You stood with the younger Suarez boys, effectively turned loose. George stared at you with uncertainty while Nicholas's mischievous smirk could only make you guess what he was thinking. You weren't going to make Mr. and Mrs. Suarez regret letting you come, and you especially weren't going to disappoint Derek. You were going to watch those boys. Time to be in charge. I'm going to play over there. Okay. You pointed vaguely to the opposite side of the field from Derek, and trotted off to entertain himself. You let him go without argument. George wasn't the problem child. When you saw him settle in, throwing around his football and chasing it, you smiled. You would only need to manage Nicholas. You aimed your grin towards him, but instead of being in the clover's patch, he was missing. Oh my god, so soon! You snapped your head back and forth until you spotted him in the fumbling dash across the grass, struggling to keep his soccer ball from slipping out of his small hands. When Derek said, "Watch him," he had really meant it. When you just have to push up your sleeves. He wasn't the first troublemaker you had ever dealt with, and he wasn't going to be the last. Nicholas stopped, you ran over without a word. You ran over and picked him up. Hey, come back here, young man. I ran over without a word. I'm gonna scare him a little. I'm gonna just suddenly appear there. You were thankful for your longer legs since the kid was quick. You closed the gap between the two of you and you stood in front of him. He didn't look up until he bumped right into your legs. Nicholas snickers he tried to dash around you, but you had to shift the left to block his progress. He then went right at you, speedily sidestepped. Soon, you both were going back and forth as though you were actually playing a game of soccer, and Nicholas was trying to get past you to score. The soccer ball tumbled from his arms. Then you kicked the ball back to him and suggested playing. Oh, hey Nicholas, you're hanging out with me just like Derek does. And you were just totally overwhelmed. I would kick it back to him like he's a kid. Like, kids are kinda like cats. You will not stop them from playing. If you try to stop them from playing forcefully, they will get hissy, they will get bitey often. With cats, with guys like that, you just have to offer them an entertaining way of spending time together. And therefore, if it felt like we are playing already, we may as well continue this. Let's play, I'm gonna get it. He squealed at the idea. He chased the ball, determined to beat you to it, and wound up to kick. He overshot the angle of his foot and the ball bounced off awkwardly. Then you were the one after the soccer ball. It didn't go that far. You let Nicholas get it again so he could continue gradually kick the ball across the field. He sent some strands of the grass into the air along with the ball at his second go. Darn, I'm gonna get you! Nicholas cackled while bumping the ball along. No, I'm gonna win! When you next got close to the soccer ball, he switched strategies. Nicholas grabbed it in his hand so he could simply run for it. That's not how soccer works. It's mine! You laughed off his blatant rule breaking and started running around after Nicholas directly. The only time your gaze strayed from the little Suarez was when you blinked or sent the occasional glance George's way. George continues to enjoy his time at the park without any need for assistance, so you spent most of your energy on the mischief maker. And after smoothing out the initial bump of the afternoon, things evened out. At least things were fine until the trial known as lunch arrived. I really hate having a runny nose. It started with the reappearance of Derek. His presence sent Nicholas into hyperdrive. He bounced on the tip of his toes and waved both his hands frantically. Derek's back! He tackled his older brother and lashed around Derek's left leg. George, like half of the entire park, noticed the shout. He jogged over to see if any important updates were happening without him. Derek winked. Okay, bros.
What's up?
Hi, Matty, I hope you're doing alright. As he spoke, he let his bag drop to the ground. He crawled over it and scrounged up the packed lunches. It's all good, it's just great. I'm having fun, or I don't know how you do this all the time. One of these two, like, I would have fun, but I wouldn't be able to do it every day. I have only so much energy inside me, you know? So let's go for this one. That's awesome! You beamed back at him. Despite being a handful, you were enjoying Nicholas. He kept you on your toes. Are you having fun, Nicholas? Yeah! Me too. What about you, George?
Yeah.
Yeah. Derek set aside 3 paper bags in the grass. One in front of Nicholas, another next to George, and the third one to you. Derek kept the 4th lunch inside his backpack. He only pulled a water bottle out from it and closed the bag up.
Okay.
Hey, Nicholas, you've gotta eat now with Matty and George. Nicholas clenched Derek's jeans more desperately as he whined. You're not gonna eat with me? Derek scratched the back of his head. He gave a longing glance back to where he'd been practicing. Do you mind, Matty? I was hoping I'd have more time to practice. He bit his lips, hope clear on his face. He had confidence that she could handle lunch alone. You should eat lunch too, that's one thing. But, well, I know how sport can be important for people who actually enjoy doing it and who find passion in it. If someone told me to, like, if I couldn't write my stories because I would have to babysit 24 hours, I would do anything to be able to, focus on it at least a little bit, even if it meant skipping food. So, sure. Thanks, I owe you one. Nicholas's whimper never stopped being high-pitched background noise. Derek ruffled his hair. Hey, check this out! He picked up Nicholas's soccer ball and placed it on top of his own head. Nicholas's jaw dropped theatrically as Derek fully stood up while keeping it balanced.
Ow!
So cute. He's such a good big brother. Nicholas cheered and jumped up and down, still holding onto Derek's leg. Derek bent his knees and then popped up fast enough to launch the ball in the air. He caught it on his head again. Wow, such a show-off. Nicholas let go of his brother to clap. Derek grinned at Nicholas, but his gaze flicked to you for a second. The show over. Derek inclined his head and let the soccer ball drop into his hands. He held it out to Nicholas. Make sure to eat a good lunch, okay? Then you can get back to practicing. Okay! Nicholas spoke into the soccer ball as he cuddled to his as he had cuddled to his face. He'd been starstruck enough that he couldn't disagree with anything his biggest brother said. Derek waved at you and George before heading off to where he'd left his soccer ball, carrying only the water bottle with him. George promptly took a seat in the grass by the lunchbox. Nicholas put the soccer ball on his head and it immediately rolled off. He just tried again. You reached over to the lunches. Each bag had a clearly written name in black marker ink. George collected his bag. You had yours, and you attempted to give the last one to its proper owner. But Nicholas showed zero interest in the bag. You imagined he would have been more interested in Derek's lunch bag, even though they probably had the same meals. George scoffed, knowing his brother was going to be difficult again. He took a sandwich from his bag. From looks alone, you guess it was sliced deli turkey, a pale colored cheese, and some veggies. With Nicholas clearly busy, you took his sandwich out for him. The sandwich was ham and some sort of orangey cheese, cheddar almost certainly. You offered the food directly to Nicholas and he still didn't bite. You wanted to play. He wanted to play. No. No, he can choke. That's damp. Let's try this one. It's gonna be like a little bit of play because, I will be eating, so I only have one hand. He will be eating, and it's still a bit of balancing because whenever he moves, I have to move. Like, it's kind of a funny and safe back and forth for it to still be a play without running around. So I guess that's the best approach here. Nicholas chewed on the inside of his cheek while he carefully contemplated your suggestion. Then the focused look melted into a bright smile. So cute. He gave you a determined nod when he was ready to switch. Your fingers fanned out as you reached for the ball and pressed it down to his messy mop of hair. Nicholas cautiously released the ball and you kept it firmly in place. He giggled ecstatically that he finally found a way to keep the ball up without using his hands. It just took another person to do it. He retrieved his sandwich and immediately stuffed a big bite into his cheeks. Chuckling, you took a glance over at what George was doing. Luckily, he didn't need a hand like his brother. He was already enjoying his packed lunch, so you decided not to squander the opportunity. You retrieved your own sandwich with your free hand and dug in. It was definitely an interesting way to enjoy a meal break. Finishing the last corner of your square-shaped meal, you wondered if Mrs. Suarez had talked to one of your moms beforehand about lunch. The sandwich was made how you would have had it at home. She was either prepared or very lucky. But considering what her oldest son was like, you were guessing luck had nothing to do with it. Along with the sandwiches, there were also bags of carrots, celery, and a few cookies. Between the three of you, it wasn't long before all the snacks were gone. With nothing left to nibble on, Nicholas yawned and curled up in the grass, cuddling the soccer ball against his chest. George stood up, watching his little brother fall asleep. Once he was certain that Nicholas was down for the count, he started cleaning up the trash. Second? You admired the maturity he showed for his age. It wasn't just Derek who had that streak after all. You helped gather the trash while musing about the Suarez brothers. Derek was the oldest and his parents relied on Freak! I need to learn how to read for real. Derek was the oldest and who his parents relied on, while Nicholas was the baby of the family. And for a little kid, he was a force to be reckoned with. George was the one stuck in the middle. Seriously, thank you for being a good kid. Hey, I saw your football throws earlier, really good. I'm gonna praise him. I know that the middle child is often overlooked, so I wanna give him some more attention. George spun around on his heel. He seemed stunned, like he wasn't sure if he imagined your compliment or not. In a couple of years, you could totally get in a junior football team. You know that, and a blush grew on his face until it reached his ears.
Okay.
So cute, what a baby! He hurriedly went back to what he was doing before. George was embarrassed, but you also noticed there was a bounce in his step that wasn't there before. He's so happy! The park suddenly felt empty with Nicholas asleep. He took a lot of space despite his tiny size. Chuckling to yourself, you found a comfortable spot in the grass and scanned the area for Derek. You eventually caught sight of him running in the distance. Even from here, you could tell that Derek was persistent about his practice. He went back and forth, repeating the same set of moves, reassessing and refining his form every time. Though it wasn't long before he paused to wipe his brow with his black wristband. Derek happened to glance your way at that moment and realized that he had an audience of one. He gave a huge wave with both hands that required he crossed both his arms over his head. And before you knew it, Derek's strides were bringing him back over to you and his brothers.
Phew.
That's it, I'm gonna be done with practice. I'm back! You probably put all of your support behind the thumbs up you gave him. A few seconds later, you even added the other thumb too, and Derek laughed. Truly appreciative of your encouragement. Thanks for watching, George and Nicholas. I didn't mean for it to be so long. I feel like an old tired parent now. I'm okay, I'm happy I could help you out. You owe me one, you nodded. It's okay. I'm happy I could help you out. The sincerity in your voice had Derek thoughtfully keeping his eyes on his shoes instead. I'll probably end up saying it again, but thanks, Machi, you're a lifesaver. Next, he shifted his attention over to his brothers. George gave a little wave. He'd been waiting patiently for his big brother to wrap up his conversation with you. We're going back. George simply got up, not needing any more guidance, while Derek kneeled in the grass to nudge Nicholas out of dreamland. A single eye cracked open at first, and then they both popped wide open when he realized who was with him.
Derek!
So cute. Nicholas sprang off the ground, wrapping his arms around his big brother like a vice grip and nuzzled into his chest. Derek gave Nicholas's head a single pat.
Let's go.
Practice was good today. Let's go home. Nicholas's harsh voice echoing his brother's put a warm smile on your face. Stretching your arms high overhead, you surveyed the area to make sure that nothing was being left behind. You were all clear, and it felt good to have another solo round of babysitting successfully under your belt. With your leadership, no one got lost, injured, swallowed something they shouldn't have, or even declared that they hated you for eternity. So in your book, you'd say it went fairly well. The 15 minutes walk back from the park passed by pleasantly. The late afternoon sun fell behind you and your shadow soon stretched across the sidewalk. You wiggled your fingers and then exaggerated your hand's movement in order to watch the shadow change. Meanwhile, next to you, Derek was finally eating his lunch. Although he had to eat his sandwich with the hand Nicholas wasn't clasping tightly onto. George entertained himself with the football he still carried. He periodically tossed it up into the air and caught it again. You could easily imagine how often the three of them had made this trip before. With only the three of them. But you didn't feel out of place strolling alongside the group. It felt natural. Beaming, you found your gaze settling on Derek again. You knew without a doubt that the way you felt was because of him. He was so good at making you feel welcome. In time, you made it safely back and Derek dropped his back on the floor with a quiet sigh of relief. Any hope he had to take things easy for a second immediately evaporated.
We're going to the pool as soon as we come back.
That's what he promised. Nicholas's joy was palpable, parroting back Derek's promise from earlier in the day. As the words dawned on him, Derek closed his eyes and breathed deeply. Yep, we are. Get ready. And that was all the approval Nicholas and George needed. They both dashed off to their shared bedroom to get changed. Derek sluggishly opened his eyes, but his tiredness softened when he looked at you.
It's okay.
Practice is done. If you wanna stay up here until your moms can come get you, that's cool. Derek gave you a partial shrug, and then ran a hand through his hair shyly. We don't have to go swimming again. But I wanna hang out with you. I've been having fun. I'm not mad about being here. What? You promised we'd get to the pool again. You know what? I'm gonna go with this. Like, I would be like, fuck you mean I'm not going? You put your hands on your hips and pouted. He laughed and raised his hands in self-defense. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you knew you had options. It wasn't much longer before the younger kids came running out to rejoin you and Derek. They both wore their neon-colored swimsuit and had towels wrapped around their shoulders.
Awesome.
Nice job. You even remembered your floaty vest, Nicholas. Derek kneeled down to make sure the safety device was properly secured. Nicholas stood tall with his chest out proudly. He didn't fear the scrutinization. I did the straps for him. Perfect, thanks. George brightened just as his younger brother had. George brightened just as his younger brother had. Standing back up, Derek shifted his attention to you. Same quick change strategy from earlier? Yeah. You darted off to get changed first. Derek nodded seriously when you returned to take over from him. He re-emerged a couple minutes later and diligently went over to the counter to write something down. Curious, you inched closer. Just gotta leave a note so that knows where we are. Then we can go. Okay, sounds good. Everything was squared away, as Derek was always sure to do, and the four of you marched right back out of the apartment for another exertion. By the time the distinct smell of chlorine tinkled your nose, the sun had fallen low in the sky. You circled around some nearby lounge chairs and deemed them capable of keeping your things safe. Inspecting the gleaming water, you noticed that George and Nicholas hadn't moved towards the pool yet. Both of the little boys were watching Derek like hawks. You'd pick up enough this afternoon to know it was because George didn't want to do anything without permission and Nicholas didn't want to do anything Derek wasn't doing. Wow.
I'm on it.
Here I go! And Derek himself knew it too. He didn't keep them waiting. Derek offered his brothers an encouraging wave and strolled over to the pool. You ran to beat him. You remained nice, dry and solid. Well, we're at the pool. Breezing past Derek, you caught bits of a gasp and roaring laughter. You couldn't tell what sounds belonged to who, but before you threw yourself off the edge, you crashed into the water. Seconds later, you felt the impact of another person piercing the water beside you. Derek. He stayed under while you went up for air. The other Suarez son followed. George jumped in without any hesitation, but Nicholas sped right to the edge only to come to an abrupt stop. His toes curled around the edge of the pool, and his lips were pressed into a tight frown. Nicholas stepped his head and stared down at the water, clutching his hands together. He was scared to jump. Nicholas would rather the pool come the rest of the way to him, but it wasn't being a good sport. Derek and George popped out of the water with matching white grins, and droplets clinching to the tips of their hair. Neither was surprised that they were missing their baby brother. Aight? Ooh, that was awesome! Nicholas' cry for help came out in a tiny, impatient squeak. He began wiggling in place. Derek chuckled and swam over to a shallower spot. The 6-year-old followed closely, toddling along the edge. When his feet touched the pool's solid bottom, Derek stood up. He kindly held his arm out towards his brother.
This is gonna be great.
Come on in, Nico. The water's fine. Trusting him completely, Nicholas let go of his fear. He took a step over the side and walked into his favorite person's hold. Derek embraced Nicholas as he dropped against his chest. Then Derek slowly lowered him closer to the water before he completely let his brother go. Nicholas bobbed under with a small splash and broke out again in an instant like a boy. He was bursting at the seams, right? With excitement. Nicholas made the most of his new floating freedom by dog paddling around the shallow end. Checking on George, you noticed that he was sticking to the center of the pool. He bounced himself from the floor to the surface for air and then pushed back down to do it all over again. He lived all around in a circle. Derek rested an arm across the pool's edge and took a moment to watch his brother stood. You swam over to Derek and settled against the wall with him. You closed your eyes and sighed. The water's temperature was pleasantly warm against the cooling evening air. Derek kept his main focus on his family, though he spared a moment to tilt his head in your direction. A few bits of water trailed from his hairline down the side of his jaw. Babysitting went as well as you thought, huh? You hummed in response, thinking back over the day. Nicholas could be a handful, but it was something you could manage.
Honestly,
My brothers are fun. Some of the time. He chuckled at his own joke and ran a damp hand down his face to try getting at least some of the water off. The final rays of sunlight cast a warm glow on his skin, and the pool sparkled as he finally turned his attention directly towards you. Derek's mouth turned into his usual wonderful smile. I don't know what I'd do without him. They're great. You sound like a proud dad. You sound like a proud dad. He smirked at your teasing, but it quickly lost its force as his cheeks grew pink. Derek hid his face in his hands. I don't even want to think about being a real parent right now. Being the oldest kid is enough for me. Shaking his head, he kept his brothers in his sight. The affection returned to his expression. Yeah, I know. That's why I think I'm gonna stop after this chapter after all. I thought it's gonna be shorter because in the previous step, one story was like 30 minutes and here I see it's like an hour for each. So I have my tea with honey with me, so I'm drinking it slowly. I'm at my second one right now. This one is coming to an end and after that we're gonna finish, I think. But thank you for your concern. I know. Especially since at the beginning of the stream I was talking about not really able to do voice rest, since even if I am alone at home and have nothing to do, I am just screaming my lungs out because I am alone at home, and that means I can sing as much as I want to. So yeah, I know I shouldn't. That's also why I am taking a longer break from this game after the stream. Just so I can take some more time for my voice to rest. But thank you for your concern, really. Shaking his head, he kept his brothers in his sight. The affection returned to his expression. I am proud of them, though. Josh and Nicholas remained engrossed with their own watery adventures, while you and Derek kept track of them. You were in mid-conversation when the sound of footsteps echoed through the walls surrounding the pool. Derek shot out an arm of the water and waved to the newcomer. Dad!
Good evening.
Good evening. Dad! Dad? All the Suarez boys eagerly paddled over to the end of the pool where their father stood. They moved together in the water with their heads beside each other and their legs kicked out behind them like a pile of seal pups.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
George? Mr. Suarez's voice was sweet as he observed his children's happy faces. Eventually he spotted you as well, and he tucked his fingers into the edge of his vest with vigor. Oh, this is a pool party today. You know, a party should have a proper food. Let's order pizza for dinner tonight. Yeah! Yeah! Laughing with excitement, Nicholas started smacking the palms of his hands against the water's surface, making several bursting splashes. George flicked the droplets from the tips of his fingers at Nicholas in retaliation. Chuckling over the scene, Mr. Suarez brought a hand up and held onto his chin. He scratched at his bird with his thumb. Half cheese, half pepperoni for the first, correct? Yes! Pepperoni! Nicholas threw both his arms in the air as he cheered. Mr. Suarez nodded, pleased his little ones still had predictable taste.
Wonderful.
Okay, and meat and veggie supreme for Irene and I on the second. He settled his gaze on Derek and you for the final decision. Suggestions for what the final half should be? Machi, you pick. You floated over closer to Derek as you thought about it. I usually go... Oh, that sounds good. Hawaiian, all veggies, supreme, meat. That sounds really good. But I think maybe the supreme, because, well, we need to take Derek into consideration and he's a sport person, so he should have it balanced. So let's go for the supreme. I would enjoy it anyway. Derek gave you a big thumbs up for that.
So
in full. Half cheese and half pepperoni and one supreme.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, children. I'll put the order in now. I'll come back to let you know when it's ready, but until then, continue to play. Thanks, Dad. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dad. You chilly waved goodbye to Mr. Suarez. All the food talk had you amped up for dinner. Mr. Suarez closed the pool gate behind him, leaving you kids to your fun. In Mr. Suarez's absence, Derek took charge again. Alright, you heard it. That's ordering pizza, so it will be here in like 30 minutes. So think fast. What's the last thing you wanna do before we have to leave the pool? Nicholas furrowed his brow, thinking as hard as he could. He scrunched his face together in frustration when nothing came to mind. I really hope it's about to finish, honestly. Meanwhile, George put a hand to his chin and tilted his head to the side. He stared up and off into the space as he considered the question. You left it open for the younger kids to decide. Actually, knowing them, they may not agree because they are very different, so I'll start the fight. The younger Suarez brothers may have been unsure or overwhelmed with how they wanted to spend their remaining pool time, but you weren't. You knew exactly what you wanted to do. You subtly angled your position in the water, carefully deciding your plan of attack. The corner of your mouth bent, and you flung a mighty splash towards Derek. He ended up with a face full of water, and he sputtered before shaking it off with laughter. As he regained his composure, Derek brushed a hand down his face again to wipe some droplets away. Matty, I'm sure you're aware of what that means. Derek's stare narrowed with a fierce amused look of determination. You matched it and gave an added slow nod. I believe I do.
It's on.
It means war. I wanted to call off him on being competitive again, but then I realized I raised him to the pool on my own behalf, and that I started the fight. So maybe I shouldn't call him out on it. He swiftly sent a shot of water in your direction. Nicholas cackled at your exchange, and he started to excitedly beat the water's surface and send droplets crashing in all directions. You twisted away from their attacks, and the second the water settled, you struck. Pushing your hands forward, you sent another big wave crashing towards the brothers. Okay, I think that's the end, thank goodness. Derek sent splashes with both hands on each side, juggling you and Nicholas. Nicholas pulled water, cupping it in his hands, and he threw it in the air. The droplets carelessly poured down on everyone. Nicholas was dangerous in this fight. He was willing to take a hit to get a hit. Out of the four of you, George enacted the best defensive strategy. He took a deep breath and held it while he slid underwater. That's what I always did in the water fights. Just deep, and then as you emerge from the water, you just do a big splash at the same time. Damage, I guess. Only his hands remained at the surface, and they rapidly splashed in all directions. George's strategy kept you all on your toes in order to avoid his scatter shot. Whenever he came up for air, Derek made sure to be ready to take the shot. It was a grand battle. Oh my goodness, is it not the end? Okay, I think... Oh my goodness, how long is it going to be? I thought it's gonna be done 20 minutes ago. Not gonna lie. The four of you thoroughly enjoyed your time at the pool. It flew by so fast that you were surprised when you spotted Mr. Suarez cruising down to the water's edge once more. Dinner's here, and even better, Mom's home! Yay! The youngest Suarez threw his wet confetti into the air one more time. Even his dad wasn't safe from it. Mr. Suarez took it in stride and wiped his glasses against his vest. Derek was out of breath, but he beamed. Let's go get some food. Yeah. Mr. Suarez led the way to the apartment, and the four of you kids marched with an eager spring in your steps. Despite being wrapped in towels, you dripped water the whole way there. The severe smell of hot cheese and garlic crust was there to greet you when you arrived at the door. You could hear the musical words of Mrs. Suarez too.
Welcome.
Hello. Hi. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Hi, Mom. Feeling a bit awkward and out of place, you gave a tiny wave. Mrs. Suarez didn't miss it, and her voice softened as she spoke to you first. Hello, Machi. I hope you had fun today. I did. We had lots of fun.
That's great.
Very good. Mrs. Suarez then went over to the kitchen where the food was where the food was set on the counter. She popped the boxes open and delightedly glanced over at her husband. This was such a good idea. Thank you. Mr. Suarez dipped his head in a tiny bow. He followed that by gesturing a hand towards the food.
Well then.
Come get dinner. Youngest to oldest order. Despite the order given, it was no surprise that George was the one who moved first. You figured Nicholas would wait for Derek, even if he hadn't have to. George tore off a paper towel from the wall and used it to grab a slice of plain cheese pizza. He hot-footed it back over the entryway, standing there so he wouldn't bring water any farther into the apartment. You can go next, Machi. It will be easier that way. The food smelled even better up close. Supreme, that's what I asked for? You hurried back to the entryway with your dinner. Derek went next, tiptoeing over with Nicholas in his heels. He grabbed a slice of pepperoni and passed it to Nicholas. Derek then grabbed a slice of pepperoni for himself, but instead of going to the entryway, he went to an open space on the floor. You curiously watched as Derek laid his towel on the floor and then sat down on it, crossing his legs. Nicholas plopped down on the towel right next to him and started on one of his pizza crust corners. Well, I would sit down. I'm no longer babysitting. Oh, that's a good idea. You followed Derek's example and laid your own towel out on the floor. With cheeks stuffed with pizza, Derek gave you the cheeriest closed-mouth smile he could. Finally, Mr. and Mrs. Suarez got their slices of pizza. They stood in the living room in between the spots their sons had taken. So, how did you spend your day while you were out? We did lots of things. In between taking big bites of pizza, the Suarez family started taking turns telling stories about their day. Nicholas recounted the events of the day with the most enthusiasm. Even though they were the same plot points from his brother's stories and the ones he witnessed firsthand, from his perspective the events were almost mythically amazing. Storytelling was hangry work, so the slices didn't last long at all. The food was chipped away piece by piece until everyone was stuffed. Nicholas lay down on the floor, limbs stretched out and still wrapped in his towel. He was completely tired from the day. Mr. Suarez plucked him off the floor and held him under one arm. Bath time, come on, Junior.
Yes, Dad.
Aww. Nicholas accepted his face and his arms hung limply down. George crumpled up his paper towel into a ball and tossed it into the trash. He followed his dad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gregorio. Gregorio? I am not really... I never know when the G should be spelled more like an H. I know sometimes it should. At least I think I know. I am almost certain that it sometimes should. Mrs. Suarez watched them go with gentle affection in her gaze. She patted her husband's shoulder as he passed by and then strolled over to you and Derek. And thank you for a good day's work. I appreciate you both taking care of Nicholas and George today. Her cheeriness reminded you so much of Derek's. She pointed with her thumb over her shoulder. Dad and I will take them from here. Thanks, Mom. You could see the wave of relief wash over him as clearly as the actual water you had just swam in. I'll keep an ear out for the phone. Pamela said she'd call when they're on their way here to get Machi. Okay. After that, Mrs. Suarez excused herself to go help Okay, how much longer is this chapter? To go help get George and Nicholas ready for bedtime. When she disappeared down the hall, Derek leaned back on the palms of his hands. He lazily rolled his head in your direction.
Hey.
We can get dressed again. Then would you wanna hang out in my room until your moms get here? You had in agreement with your visit winding down. That was a good plan. You can get changed first. Okay, we've been through it. He stretched out his legs on the floor while he stood up. You could feel a slight ache in your muscles from today's activities. It wasn't bad, given you're all during your babysitting adventure. Gathering your things up in your arms, you left to get changed. It wasn't long before you and Derek went over to his room for some sibling-less free time. We started around 11 this chapter and it's already 12:13. Derek opened his bedroom door and gestured for you to lead the way. You went in while he followed close behind, shutting the door once more. Your eyes widened as you scanned the small space. Usually you were outside when you hung out with Derek, so this was the first time that you'd been inside his room. Within reach of his neatly made bed was a bookshelf filled with novels, various scattered soccer balls and footballs stuck out around the books and furniture. There's also a volleyball and a tennis ball, but a volleyball. Things were arranged and organized with the same care Derek put into most things he did. If there was more time, you were sure there were tons more trinkets and treasures to spot here. Like a game of I Spy. It wasn't big, but Derek made the most of his small piece of the world. Your room is cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Really?
Bashful Derek scratched the side of his neck. He cheerfully watched you look over his things until it clicked. Whoa! We've never hung out in my room before, huh? Nope, it's the first time. That's kinda weird to think about.
Sorry.
But anyway, sorry I don't have any chairs in here. You can sit on my bed if you want. You eased his concern with an understanding nod. Derek sighed, letting himself relax. Either this one or this one, considering how much activity we had before, I would lay down. You sighed loudly, letting yourself melt into the cozy blankets. Derek crossed his arms and laughed loudly. Sure, get comfortable. You playfully propped yourself up on your elbow and rested your chin on the palm of your hand. Derek crossed over to the foot of his bed and sat there on the end of it. His jaw stretched open in a huge yawn that he quickly covered with his hand.
Good job, team.
We're finally done. There was no missing the proud satisfaction burning in his green eyes, but you could also consequently see the places where he was wilting. Sometimes you kinda worried about how he threw himself wholeheartedly into things all the time. Nice. How often do you babysit? It was nice. His expression softened fondly as he silently studied your face. Chewing at your bottom lip, you were unsure of what he was thinking. You had meant what you said. I'm really glad today worked out. My brothers were happy too. Derek stretched his arms high in the air and yawned again. His eyelids drooped as he turned towards you. Gradually, the carefree warmth faded from his demeanor. His face fell into a quiet frown when his hands had returned to his lips.
You don't have to.
You don't have to do it again, Machi. Whether it's a good time or bad time, it's just a lot of time and you have your own things to deal with. Your brows bent at that. Tilting your head, you couldn't help but think about how much of Derek's days went to his brothers. It definitely didn't seem to match how things were with your sister and you. But then, as if summoned by your thought about him, the bedroom door cracked open and just enough to let a giggling Nicholas slip in. He threw his hands in the air. I'm dressed! So cute. With a loud thud, the door swung fully open and George marched in with an extremely annoyed scowl. He put his hand on his hips. You sprang up and kicked your legs over to the side of the mattress. Lazing on the bed wasn't on the schedule anymore. Nicholas, we're playing in the living room, not Derek's room. George reached for his younger brother, but Nicholas scurried up into the bed. He warily peeked at George from behind Derek's shoulder. Derek notably didn't say a single word, nor did he appear surprised about the intrusion at all. The only movement he made was a light pat on the mess of hair on Nicholas's head like usual. What wasn't usual was the distant look on his face. He'd accepted the reality at hand but did not welcome it. Mr. and Mrs. Suarez crowded in the room next.
Excuse us.
Sorry, Derek. He slipped away in a flash.
Yeah.
Aw, poor baby.
No more.
Come on, Nicholas. Let Derek and Maggie have some peace. The youngest Suarez stubbornly clung on Derek's arm. His cheeks puffed out angrily. Nicholas, go hang out with Mom and Dad. Don't you want to see them too? They missed you today. Don't you want to see Mom and Dad too? Come on, Derek. Nicholas loosened his grip as he shifted to get a better look at his big brother. Derek sighed spiritlessly. I do, but I have a friend over right now. I'll spend time with Mom and Dad and you later. Nicholas bent forward and grasped Derek's pant leg. He brought out the big guns and stared at him with his most pitiful eyes and a matching pout. Don't be sad, it's been a happy day. I feel like either this one or this one. But I feel like this one may work a little better. Like, come on, you see, your brother can act and you want to be like your brother, right? Your brother always listens to your parents. All focus shifted over to you in surprise, but the one you were focused on was the youngest Suarez. Silently, he met your stare and you could tell that he was mulling over your words. I know you can do it. For a second, you had a glimmer of hope that you could fix things for Derek, but as the moment passed, Nicholas still didn't budge from his spot. His grasp only tightened.
End of discussion.
Nicholas, we're reading a story. Right now. Nicholas angrily shook his head as he advanced across the room. She unapologetically peeled her smallest child of Derek. The young boy let out a high-pitched whine for the entire extraction. George frowned sympathetically over the confrontation while Derek winced at the noise. When the deed was done, the middle son followed his mom out of the room. You could still hear Nicholas's piercing cry as he was carried away. I'm very sorry about the interruption. Continue as you were. None of us were ever here. He gave the both of you an encouraging smile before carefully shutting the door again. It was finally silent. Derek kept an eye out until he honestly believed that there wouldn't immediately be another sibling disaster. When he deemed it safe, he let out a quick sigh in an attempt to choke back a harsher groan. Derek flopped back against the mattress with another half and stretched his arm out his sides. His arms twitched and his fingers curled into fists.
Ugh.
There's never any privacy here. How am I still having to deal with these things even after spending almost the whole day with them? You held your tongue, waiting patiently for him to get it all out. Derek muttered grievances under his breath with a harsh glare aimed at the ceiling for a good minute and screwed his mouth shut. I'm sorry, I think you've done a good job with everything, that's rough. Well, he knows that. I'm just gonna say his story. I'm gonna be sympathetic because he's 13 and he spends half of his childhood babysitting his brothers. Like, he's too young for that, and it definitely didn't start this year. If, like, Nicholas wouldn't be this, like, obsessed with him if it would start this year, so he's been having it rough for a while. When he didn't add anything else, the apology tumbled out of your mouth. There wasn't a single thing that you could do to change anything about his day-to-day, and that made you feel horrible. His head rolled over in your direction, and he didn't say a word. Instead, he suppressed you with a weak smile, and you realized that just being there was enough. Evening his breath, Derek folded his arms across his chest and squeezed his eyelids shut. You could tell by the tension in his face that he was still bothered. He was thinking hard, searching for something.
Man.
I can make this work. His slow mumble was followed by a pause that you had intrigued. And then he jumped forward so that he was sitting upright again. The grin you were so used to seeing was back in full force. Machi, wanna go back to the pool? Nobody's gonna be there this late and my bros are not gonna be able to leave the house. We don't have to get in or even change clothes. I think it'd just be kind of nice place to talk and that sort of thing. Avoiding your gaze, Derek nervously rubbed the back of his head. You could tell that he was trying his hardest to be nonchalant, but he wasn't exactly succeeding. Okay, if there's gonna be another another conversation, I feel like I should get more tea for myself. Just like Parson said, it's getting kinda rough of my throat. I need a moment break, so be right back. I'm gonna take 3 to 4 minutes maybe. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. I hope this ends quickly because me getting out of my room woke up my cat again. And I am sure that in a short time period she is going to get up to her mischief again. So, without further ado. What, already? Baby, hi. Avoiding your gaze, Derek nervously rubbed the back of his head. You could tell that he was trying his hardest to be nonchalant, but he wasn't exactly succeeding. Your mouth pulled into a wide conspirational grin. The longer you thought about this, plan, the more you liked it. All right! Derek leaped up to his feet and turned, holding a hand out for you to take. I would take it if you're suffering. I would take it. Derek squeezed you back and helped pull you to your feet. Let's go! The door slowly creaked open as Derek peeked out. Double checking that the coast actually was clear, he gave you a thumbs up. I don't see Nicholas. I think we're good. You returned his thumbs up, silently hoping that this wasn't the calm before the storm. Derek led you into the living room where you found his dad and George sitting together on the couch. Hello. Mom has Nicholas in his room and wrapped in another exciting session of story time. Good. Matty and I were gonna go down to the pool area to hang out. Is that okay?
Of course.
Alright. He chuckled, knowing exactly what Derek was trying to accomplish. George was perfectly happy where he was with his dad, so he waved goodbye to you both. Don't keep Machi out too late. I won't. Thanks, Dad. Derek whispered with complete confidence. You gave your appreciation in an equally hushed tone. Thank you, Mr. Suarez. And the last thing either of you wanted was to alert the youngest Suarez that anything was happening without his knowledge, so you both silently slipped out of the apartment. Once you were free from the condo's walls, Derek's excitement was palpable. You picked up the pace and raced the pool gate. For the third time in a single day, you and Derek stepped foot on the condo's complex private pool deck. But you soon realized you hadn't seen anything it had to offer yet. Under the cover of the night, the pool was completely aglow with lights set to the bottom. The bright blue struck you as inviting breaths of steam drifted off to the top of the water, whispering how warm it was. The closed-in space was clear of any other people, and it had been like that for a while considering the stillness of the pool. Not a single ripple disrupted its aquamarine surface. Here you'd have peace and privacy. Derek was drawn to the water like a moth to a flame. He wordlessly rolled up his jeans and tucked off his sneakers and socks, then dunked his feet right into the pool up to the middle of his calf. He stretched and wiggled his bare toes in the comfortable embrace of the heated pool on a summer night. You joined Derek at the edge. I did my feet as well. I am somewhat a parrot, not gonna lie. You removed your own shoes and let your feet soak in the pool. It was as pleasant as its sparkling appearance promised. The water had none of the slight chill that the air did. It was the perfect amount of heat. Derek wrapped both his hands around the smooth tile edge and tilted back. I really can't reach today, damn it. Derek wrapped both his hands around the smooth tile edge and tilted back. One of his legs kicked up as his back drifted down like his upper and lower body were One of his legs kicked up as his back drifted down like his upper and lower body were each one side of seesaw. He grinned playfully at you.
But
So, what were we talking about? I don't remember what you were saying. That you liked having my help, but it wasn't my job to watch your brothers and I didn't have to do it again.
oh,
Oh, yeah. He solemnly brought his torso back. I kinda forgot. I wouldn't mention it if I remembered that it was it. He solemnly brought his torso back up and he was hunched over the water. He stared down at it. His lightheartedness had disappeared in an instant. Things were already kind of a bummer before it could interrupt it. That sucks. There wasn't any heart in it, but Derek managed a chuckle. Sorry for making my problems your problems. He dug his fingers into the side of his hair, scratching at it in
It
frustration.
doesn't matter.
I don't even know what my problems is. They came in the room for 5 seconds. I'm so dramatic. Derek, that's not dramatic. You deal with a lot of problems. I would go with this one. Like, he's not being dramatic. Okay. uh, yeah, not dramatic. Yeah. Derek crossed his arms tight and pushed them again against the top of his legs. The blue water rippled around him as his legs moved against the pool wall. He pressed his heels onto it. The pressure that had been only on the inside was coming out. It's just... the thing is, Nicholas and George need me all the time, and my parents need me because they need me. I don't want to let them down. I really don't. But it's hard. Every day it's like I'm gonna mess up and disappoint somebody. He bit his tongue and released his limbs from the locked positions they'd been stuck in. He couldn't scrub the furrow away from his brows.
Forget it.
Forget it. Everyone has stuff to worry about. It's not just me. Mom has to take care of them way more than I do, and Dad works a job pretty much the entire day. I admire you. You don't have to brush yourself off. This one, or this one. I think I admire you. I want him... like... I feel like he needs to hear it. Like, I feel like he needs to see and hear to be fully sure that I'm not just doing that to make him feel better. So,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I don't know why. He went silent, unmoved. Nicholas was the one who caused trouble, but somehow Derek had made himself the bad guy. It was upsetting, but Derek wasn't anywhere close to really being grown up. Of course he couldn't be perfect, even though he acted like he thought he should be. Derek, remember when your dad first came to the pool and you, George, and Nicholas were also excited? You were just like your brothers. Even if you're in charge sometimes, you're still your parents' kid. You don't have to act like an adult, especially not with me. Finally, slowly and carefully, Derek dared to glance at you again. Thanks, Machi, for saying all that. His shoulders squished inward to frame his lower head. He looked so much like a hopeful puppy that he could give even Nicholas a run for his money in the adorable face department.
Was
Aw.
it annoying?
It really doesn't bother you that I complain, and sometimes hanging out with me means helping out with 2 other kids? For all the confidence Derek displays when pushed come to shove, he was pretty insecure about himself and what you thought of him. He's so adorable! As long as you don't mind dealing with Elizabeth when you visit me. This one or this one? But I think this one is the best. Derek showed his full face to you. It was all lit up by the light shining through the water. The smile on his face was just as glittering.
Well,
I don't ever want to be a pain, but it's really cool to have a friend who doesn't mind listening to me and being there. He didn't say that lightly. He only wanted to let himself be there for you and everyone else. Being somebody Derek couldn't count on was special. Could count on was special. Sorry. You wouldn't let him down. Then his eyebrows furrowed mischievously, and just like that, he catapulted right off the tile edge into the pool. You gasped as if you were the one who suddenly got plunged underwater. Derek burst through the surface with a loud, gasping laugh. The water is great! You're too impulsive. I would laugh.
this is gonna be great.
Everything's gonna be good, Machi. I'm not an adult. That was true. You pushed yourself right off the side of the pool after him, you carefully lowered yourself off the edge, you splashed Derek from the ground, you watched him on the water saying dry yourself. I would splash him. I wouldn't get in again because, well, we're not wearing swimsuits and I hate swimming with my clothes on. Proper clothes. So, yeah. Before he could blink, you sprayed his already dripping face with another heaping serving of pool water. Oh, game on! He sent a wave over the edge of the pool and you scrambled away. He chuckled triumphantly. You might have the high ground, but I've got the resources. What, baby? You want out? Laughter and sloshing water brought the once stagnant pool to life. You and Derek still had the place to yourself and made the absolute most of it. But eventually Derek crawled up the stairs of the pool. His baggy clothes poured out mini waterfalls with every step he took on the land. Derek looked especially tiny with his drenched jersey draped over his frame. You got to your feet and walked over to Derek. Not wanting him to have to make the trip alone in that state. He gave you a thumbs up. Then he carefully tipped his head to the side and tapped his hands against his ears to get the water out.
Well,
Alright, time to face the music. Having to go home dampened Derek's mood far more than the water on his body. He could do anything here, in the wide open pool with you as his only companion. Going back to his family came with countless expectations and responsibilities, but it still had to be done. Yeah, poor guy. I feel like, as for now, both boys that we have met kinda have to act like the adults, because Cove's dad is more playful and I feel like he doesn't really know what Cove needs, so Cove feels like he must be the responsible one since Clifford, since Clifford cannot be responsible in Cole's eyes. And then you have Derek, who feels the need to take care of his little siblings because he doesn't want his parents to feel overwhelmed, even though he feels overwhelmed himself. Poor kiddos. You gave a small nod, ready on yourself for whatever might happen when you arrive at the Suarez condo. Without another word, you collected your shoes and you left this little oasis behind. He needs it. He needs it. I feel like he needs it. Like, I don't know if I would, but I feel bad for him, so I'm just gonna do it. His slippery fingers gripped you as tightly as they could. See, he needed it. I knew it. I know it when I see it. When you made it to the front door, Derek used a key from his pocket to open it. He hadn't forgotten to bring it, despite living under rushed and uneasy circumstances. Derek stood there in front of the unlocked door, just staring at it. Practical preparation was his forte. Making himself ready for bumps in relationships was not. I'll be okay. I'm sure it will be okay. I'm sure it will. Yeah. He took in a huge breath through his nose and turned the knob. The living room was quiet when you went inside. George and Mr. Suarez had moved over to the kitchen and were busy putting together a puzzle. Mr. Suarez's shoulder blocked your view so you couldn't see what the picture was supposed to be. Mrs. Suarez and Nicholas were nowhere in sight. You guessed they were still in the younger boy's room. It was strange not to have someone cheer and shout when Derek walked through the door. There was a feeling of absence. "We're back," he announced himself with an absolute lack of enthusiasm. He might as well have been calling off bingo numbers to an empty room. Mr. Suarez lifted his head and turned to face the both of you. At the same time, he eagerly pushed his chair away from the counter.
I see.
"Thank you for coming home." The greeting he gave was so normal that it was weird, considering how Derek brought a bucket full of water absorbed into his clothes. George offered a typical family greeting of his own, not taking his eyes off the puzzle. He was either focused or avoiding the awkwardness.
Welcome back.
Derek silently poked a bare big toe into the prickly entryway doormat. The mess Derek's foot was making was too much for the little mat to contain. Water leaked out from the edges. Derek's attempt to face his family was going equally smoothly. The bright pleasantries on Mr. Suarez's face softened into warmth. He followed through on the motion. He started and got out of his chair. He crossed the living room and to stand with the two of you at the front door. It's not that hard to say. It's almost 2 hours. Just this one chapter. Jesus. Holy. My hard-working son is always in demand, Our family needs to learn how to share, especially Nicholas. The last part was said with a little chuckle. Derek didn't smile from the compliment, but he did start to blush.
Excuse me.
"Excuse us?" A new voice came from the hall. Mrs. Suarez stood there with her hands on her hips. Peeking out from behind the skirt of her dress was a distinct spiky nest of brown hair. "Now that you're here, someone has something he wants to say to his big brother." Her words got George to actually turn away from the puzzle and watch the scene. But Nicholas remained hidden. Her encouragement wasn't enough, as always, he was waiting for Derek. You didn't need to tell Derek that though. He knew it far better than you. He shifted his weight on his feet again and gave Nicholas an invitation.
Okay.
"Okay then, what do you want to say?" Nicholas darted out from behind his mom with enough speed to flutter her dress. His tiny feet thundered over the floor until he came to an abrupt stop right in front of his favorite person. He had to lean his head all the way back to look into Derek's eyes. Derek looked down to meet the gaze. Nicholas resisted the urge to hug him and instead clutched at the collar of his own shirt.
I'm sorry.
"I'm sorry. That's your room." From how much Nicholas struggled to explain his apology, it was obvious he wasn't at a point where he understood why being together at all times wasn't a completely fantastic idea. All that had gotten through was that he'd upset his brother and that had in turn upset him. Nicholas bit his lip and moved his hands to pull at the bottom of his shirt instead of the top. The best he could come up with next was simply repeating himself.
Sorry.
Aww. Derek's lips quirked just a bit as he patiently listened to his little brother. "You should say sorry to them too. Machi helped you a lot today, too." Nicholas instantly twisted his head towards you and echoed the word. He was very serious. "Sorry, Machi." "Thank you, Nicholas. No worries. I appreciate it, you smile. I appreciate that you apologized." Nicholas hopped on the pads of his feet as a nervous but hopeful energy came over him. Your reaction was the first positive sign he'd gotten. The smallest Suarez glanced between you and Derek, unsurely. He let his shirt go and balled his hands into fists. I'm sorry, Derek. I'm sorry, Machi. He's so cute. He's going to repeat it over and over until Derek forgives him. That's adorable. Nicholas put everything he had into willing whatever problem he'd caused to be fixed, and into people not feeling bad anymore. The emotional display of regret moved someone in the room to speak.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too. Derek snorted a laugh at the unexpectedness of the interjection. What did you even do? I don't know. That's a That's cute. I need to drink some water. Can it end? Let's see. The middle child looked down at the puzzle in front of him again, but he was staring through the pieces as if they weren't there. He murmured just barely loud enough to hear from where you were standing. You and Machi had to watch me today too. Derek's hesitancy completely crumbled, and his usual familial dynamic came back in full force.
Aww.
Aw, George. You don't have to apologize for that. I like to have some time by myself or with my friends, but I'd never want to stop having my little bros. Nicholas's massively white eyes sparkled. For the first time since they were reunited, he carefully reached out to Derek and gripped his soaking wet jeans. Derek reached down to gently pat his baby brother's head, as he did probably every day. Neither boy cared about it this time. The hand was damp. Instead, they both smiled at the others with unwavering affection. No matter what fissions happened, it was inevitable that it would end that way because they both loved their family equally and deeply. Another person took a turn to cut in as Mr. Suarez spoke up with vigor.
Let's race.
Derek, Machi, let's race! What? Derek chuckled at your confusion and switched his headpad into a full-on hair ruffle. Nicholas giggled excitedly along with his brother. Dad is asking us to play a video game, an old kart race he likes. Yes, and I will win. Wow. Derek's dad cheerfully tacked that on. It couldn't be forgotten clearly. Thanks, Miss Gray. I am waiting for it to end. They just don't want to end. This is an additional chapter. This is an extra chapter. In the previous step, they were 30 minutes long. It's almost 2 hours. I am stuck. I feel like when I started that one Genshin quest from Luna 3 or 2, and suddenly I was stuck in a loop for over 3 hours. And one Danganronpa fan game too. I hate being stuck for so long without being able to comfortably take a break. Maybe something like that. George could be player 4. Mrs. Suarez was the only one who truly kept her distance during the reconciliation between Derek and Nicholas, but now she joined the rest of the family. When she was close enough to you and Derek to whisper, she pressed a hand to the corner of her mouth and winked conspirationally. I'll give Nico an unplugged controller. Derek grinned at the point and shifted into giving the longest strands of Nicholas's hair a friendly tug. But he didn't accept the invite immediately. He included you in the discussion. What do you think, Machi? No, what do you think? He nodded at you and turned the answer to his father. Alright, let's race! Derek's mom encouraged you and Derek with her words and Nicholas with her hands, taking him by the shoulders. This time, she wouldn't be letting him get away from her.
Go on.
Go get changed. We'll plug it in so it's ready by the time you're back. Thanks, Mom! Derek's mood continues to be buoyed by the support of his parents, and he left to go get changed while walking as lightly as he could in his wet clothes. You didn't know where anything was, so you had to leave the prep work to Mr. Suarez and George. The two of them got right into it, opening drawers and pulling out cords. You found something to do by keeping Nicholas company with Mrs. Suarez. He was on his best behavior and didn't whine for Derek even once. And, as promised, the Suarez's dark purple GameCube was fully connected with 4 controllers plugged in by the time Derek strolled into the living room. A familiar shout filled the room. All was pride in the world. So cute! Yep, Nico, I'm here! Mrs. Suarez was on the carpet with Nicholas in her lap. She'd already passed him a controller and he was having a blast pressing the clicky buttons despite the fact they did nothing except make a little noise. George and Mr. Suarez took seats on the couch. George tucked himself closely against his father, so the two were only taking up one side. The other half of the couch was reserved for you and Derek. Please let it be the end. Please. I promised to make dinner today, and it's about time I start making it. Derek dove into the spot next to George. If they don't end in 7 minutes, I'm just gonna drop it. Like, we'll finish in 7 minutes. Derek dove into the spot next to George. He got settled in nicely against the plush back of the couch and folded his legs up across the cushion. You got in the final place and relaxed against the armrest. Great, beautiful, thank you. George passed one control to Derek, which Derek gave to you. Then he handed over a second, which Derek kept. Mr. Suarez filled you in on a decision he and his second son had made.
What do you think?
Junior and I are on a team. You and Machi can play together. What do you think? Derek tilted his head your way. He lifted his shoulders and added on to his dad's briefing. It's a double racer. One drives, the other controls items. Sounds cool. Great. It's me and you then. The deal was sealed. Hime! The trash can is empty. It's empty. You won't steal anything from it. You have food in your bowls. Yes. Now you're gonna eat the box. Okay, you can eat the box. She's such a mood. The deal was sealed. Pact has been made. George packed up and shook Mr. Suarez's arm. Hey, Dad, we're Team Suarez. Yes, we are. Derek's fingers were on the buttons, and he was leaning over his crossed legs in anticipation for the game to begin. He replied, unbothered. Cool for you guys. Team Halter is a force to be reckoned with. I see. All 4 players making up to 2 teams chose their characters, cards, positions, and the track set. To start, Derek and Mr. Suarez were driving, and you and George had item launching duty. 3, 2, 1. The cars launch across the starting lines with both drivers getting an extra boost. Team Halter and Team Suarez were off down the colorful jungle road. There would be 3 laps before the race was over. Lap 1 was a frantic race for the top spot. The cars were neck and neck to each other over every hill and around each curve, neither getting ahead of or falling behind. Attacks were constantly exchanged and buttons were pressed at rapid speeds. That included Nicholas as he watched the race and tried to use his control the way everyone else was. You wondered which part of the game he thought he was impacted. By lap 2, Team Halter had taken a strong lead. Almost nothing from the Suarez camp could reach your card. Once he passed the line, the line to start flop 3, Derek was cocky enough to bring out a smack talk. I thought you were gonna win, Dad! Mr. Suarez's expression was perfectly content. More than that, it was serene. And it was with that calm face Derek's father carefully reached across George and then, in the blink of an eye, locked his large hand around the comparatively tiny controller Derek held. Hey! So adorable! The cards you and Derek shared went out of control, careening of the dirt. Careening of the dirt path into a pit. Yes, you had to wait for the game to finish you out and place you back on the road. Team Suarez rolled on right
See?
past. See? I'm winning now. Okay, we're gonna end here. I don't know how much longer this would be, but I think we know where this is going. And I'm tired. Thank you. I will stream, I believe, tomorrow. And we are streaming something less vocally demandable. I think either tomorrow or on Wednesday. I'm gonna quickly check. It's on my Twitter for sure, but I like to say it on stream as well. We will be playing Eugenics because, I mean, if it's tomorrow, it's Eugenics. If it's Wednesday, it's in Stars and Time. Because I need to rest. But I'm pretty sure... Yeah. It's Wednesday, okay. So Wednesday there's In Stars and Time, the continuation of Start Again, and then on Thursday we are playing Eugenics because In Stars and Times have some voice acting there as well. Therefore, next time I want to play something that's less demanding on me. Well, thank you very much for today, and I will hopefully see you on Wednesday, the same hour. Bye bye!